Hey everyone, it's Bill from Inside You with Bill and the Raptor. Just popping in before the show starts to say that this episode it's something. I spent 2 weeks trying to edit it and mess with it, and here's why. So in the middle of this recording, Raptor popped into the Zoom call, which made us both, myself and Melissa, wicked happy. And then the Zoom call got snafu'd. So there's pieces missing that I had to edit around and also try and line up all the audio and things like that. So there will be some spots where the audio is a little wonky and it's not lined up very well, but I can't get it to line up any better. I've been trying for 2 weeks and it's just not happening. Also, when you hear the little at about 51 minutes and 15 seconds, that's when we're jumping ahead to where Raptor is. So, so I just want to say I'm sorry. And other than the audio snafus, it's a really funny episode. I want to thank Melissa Vanderlan again for filling in as co-host. And, just want to apologize again for the audio snafu. So, buckle up. This one's a listener. I know it's long, but it's worth it. And if you can get past the audio snaffies, then you're really going to enjoy it. So tune in and listen in, and we thank you for sticking around. Okay, bye. Hey, welcome to another edition of Inside You. I'm Bill, and this week, Raptor is still gone. But she's out in the Midwest, and she's trying to, make a home front, and she's on the Oregon Trail. And oh,
nice.
Yeah, thank you. I was just waiting for a giggle or something. That's all I got. Today was my 6th workday out of 6, so I'm tired and I have 1 day off and then I'm back in for another week. But Raptor is still trekking out to the Midwest, trying to get her and the children nuggets and Ashley set up and acclimated. And I'm going to go ahead on record and say that I miss my best friend terribly, but she's doing stuff for the best, and we will soldier on and make her proud with the guests, hosts that I have lined up. Hopefully you fuckers listened to 1982 and got a taste of my acquaintance Derek Brobst. Last two episodes, Raptor and I discussed it, her last episode, and then 1982, we discussed it. But if you can hear it, if you can put your ears to the speakers real faint and hear a faint little pop of ozone and a little microphone feedback, a new podcast has just been birthed. So,
nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I always count on you to be a cheerleader.
Always.
So, that podcast has been birthed. It's now in diapers and it's teething. So and it's coming in fast. So as soon as we get, everything settled with that, it'll be on the way. So look forward to that. Any other news that I'm forgetting while I have the opportunity? Nope. We still have merch for sale. The links will be in the show notes. And that's it. That's it. We're continuing our series on the 80s this week, and this week it's 1983. And let me tell you folks something. 1983 is when shit starts to get real. All right. I'm talking about real. And for 1983, we could not do an 80s show without our next guest. My guest host for this evening is, again, she's been on the show many times with her podcast cohort, Andrea Starola. She is one of the baddest chicks from the Windy Cities. And so Windy City, wow, I'm really tired. And She has her podcast with Andrea Stodala called 14 Going on 40. It's on Gold Star Media. You can go to their website, 14 Going on 40 pod at wixsite.com for all the 14 on 40 goodness. My guest host this evening, Melissa Vanderlan. Again, very German. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, it's a lot of A's. There's a lot of A's.
There is a lot of A's,
yes.
but like I fucked up Andrea's name for so long. Her last name for so long that I had to ask her on the air, like, please don't kill me.
You know what? It's so not offensive. I'm a teacher. You should see how I brutalize names all the time.
Aaron.
Yeah, right. It's exactly like D nice. Yeah, that's it's happened.
How are you, lady?
Yeah, especially when you start like looking at a name too hard, and then you're like, oh no, man.
Hey, listen.
Way overcomplicating it.
Listen, my name is pretty straightforward. Rhymes with Pigpen. That's it. But you would not believe how many times people fucked that up in my 33 years. I believe I had baseball trophies that said Thugpen, Thoogpn, which I don't know where the fuck you got that from. Nice. I know there's a vowel between the H and the G, but still, it's not a double O. I got Thug, Thug, which made me sound hard as fuck. Not hard as fuck.
I don't know if I would correct that one.
No, I did. I mean, come on. It's like my name is
true,
and I mean, I would much rather people call me Billy Ray. To be honest with you, I mean,
yes, I know. Yeah, but I think I'm a lot more forgiving with like my last name, but I can't tell you how many times I've been called Michelle, and it's like when I like stare real hard at the word Melissa, I still don't really understand how you get Michelle.
No, and I've got people who's like, hey, can we call you Billiam? Absolutely fucking not. You may not call me Billiam. That's no. Can I call you William? Yeah. No, I'm not pretentious enough to go by my full, my dad's name. If you want to talk to William Thigpen, I'll give you his number. I'm sure he'll talk to you.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I mean, I could not be more excited to do this episode. I was really excited to hear that you guys were doing a series on the 80s and volunteered as tribute immediately. If you ever needed someone to come in and talk about it, because the 80s are totally my jam. And like you said, I think it was really a fun thing to discover. You know, it's for me, it's kind of all a blur. Like I was a child of the 80s. I was born in 79. Mm-hmm. So by 83, I was, 5 or 4. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? So like there's some of it that still is, a lot of my stuff is almost from a kid's viewpoint. And so it's interesting that when I was doing my homework for this, I was like, damn, 83.
Yeah, exactly.
This is when it started to happen.
I'd like to read off the text message I got from you this morning. Me making breakfast this morning. Alexa, play music from 1983. Which I was like, I was in the middle of maybe Saturdays are really terrible at work. So I was like, I went outside to just catch my breath and smoke a minute. And I'm like sweating and shit, and then my phone goes off, and I was like, "She's gonna cancel. This is gonna be my day." And then I saw the text. I'm like, "Oh, I'm in it to win it. I need a dynamite nap later on. This is gonna be fucking rock."
Listen, I was all up in HBO with the 80s documentary that's in there, like just letting that play in the background. 1983 on Alexa. Listen, I'm here for this. I changed my watch face. I love the 80s watch face.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you can see it.
It's in there. I want you to describe to the audience what the fuck you're wearing, because it is money.
Oh, so yeah, you must not know about me.
Now wait, hold on. Now I came to play with the Purple Rain shirt. I bought this on purpose. One, because it was the last one in a 3X, and I'm a big fat fatty, so I need a little room. But I'm a Purple Rain fan. I'm a Prince fan, and if you think of 80s, you think of His Royal Badness. So
1,000%.
Fucking A.
So here's how it went this morning.
But I swear to Christ, if you're wearing acid wash jeans or fucking jellies or...
I'm not quite there, but I could get there. It's not out of the realm of reason if I dug deep in my closet. So I love a theme. And because of that, I tend to go all in.
That's fine.
And this one was super easy. Let me tell you, this morning when I was like, okay, all right, listen, I'm getting in the mindset. I've got my 80s documentary going. I've got my 80s music going. I changed my watch face. I'm looking, I was even like, do I change my phone theme? Like, what do I do? Right. And I went and I was like, well, first of all, I have some thoughts, but I need to go into my closet and pull all of my 80s t-shirts. And I had about like 6 or 7 to pick from. And then I went through each t-shirt to see which one would land as close to 1983 as possible.
Fair enough.
And lo and behold, my lady Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper.
She was there waiting.
She's fucking rad.
She's so fucking rad. And so, so I have my Cyndi Lauper t-shirt. I have my as close as I can possibly get to stonewashed jean jacket, my fishnet gloves, my Run DMC gold ring.
That's fucking awesome.
It's a giant stereo. I have my Gem and the Hologram earrings on and jelly bracelets for days. So
I'll tell you a little secret about
where it's at.
Run DMC. So there was a period when I dropped out of high school. I was like 17. There was a period where all I did all day was sleep, and then I would get up in the afternoon and then go walking around town at night. And what I would put in my headphones was old school 80s hip hop, KRS-One, and Run DMC. And I wore every night, and I watched them every day, black jeans, a black Adidas wind jacket with the white stripes down the arms, Adidas Superstars with the laces out, and a fucking fedora, which I had no business wearing. None.
Oh, no, you
because
didn't.
Thank you. Because I was still like some people could just pull that off. Run DMC, they can pull that off. Justin Timberlake, he can pull off a fedora really well. But my 400-pound ass cannot do that. And this jacket is hanging on by the zipper as tight as it fucking can. I thought I was the fucking cat's pajamas.
Well, let me tell you, that's so funny that you say that because I just today ordered Audrey her first pair of Adidas shoes.
Oh.
Because she needed new gym shoes. And I was like, oh my God. I don't have time to go deal with this nonsense. So I just got myself online and I showed her like a couple options and I was like, okay, this is what you get to pick from. And she picked the Adidas pair and I was like, rad.
Done.
Okay,
Done.
Let's do this.
I bought a pair of Adidas Superstars about 4 months ago because they were on clearance on the Adidas website. And, I was having high school flashbacks. I'm like, I'm going to be a bad motherfucker. And these my fuck. But then I remembered I'm in my 30s and I don't really need to be wearing fucking baggy jeans and Adidas Superstars. So I just wore them to work and now they're trashed.
I always have a pair of Converse. Always.
I just threw out my Converse.
Low tops in black. That's like, there's never not a going pair of that. And I mean, I'm in my 40s and I'm still wearing those to work.
Well, hold on now.
Don't give a shit.
Anybody of any age can pull off Converse. I don't care who you are. Because Converse has been around forever. I think they're one of the first sneakers.
It has. It's good, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm doing this.
But
I'm just going to make it work.
My biggest downfall was wearing my Converse All-Stars to work, and they have legit no padding. Yes. And I'm walking around for 9 hours. No way.
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. Do I throw a little orthopedic gel pad in those bad boys
Fuck
now?
yes.
I sure do. I mean, that might take my cool quotient down a touch, but it's true. They are flat as fuck.
But I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to, throw everything out the window and buy myself a pair of white New Balance dad shoes.
Oh, yes.
Because I mean,
that's awesome.
I mean, I can't. I have such big feet, and I'm walking all day. I don't really think I can pull off any more fashionable sneakers. Like I have I have 2 pairs of white Reeboks, and I have a pair of Adidas Superstars, and then I have just off the shelf Walmart $10 shoes, which I got to be honest are the most comfortable things I've ever walked in.
It's when you work on your feet, you can't fuck around.
No, especially because when
you pay hard.
8.58 miles around that goddamn store today.
Yeah.
No.
I know. Right now, I'm wearing all of my cute shoes because with the way that I'm teaching, having to be on Zoom, I'm like trapped behind a desk more. Yeah. Where normally it's like I'm in a busy kitchen teaching culinary and like running back and forth to the preschool and like all these things, and So now I'm like, well, this is the perfect time to wear all my cute shoes that hurt my feet because, like,
I do that once a year on Christmas Eve. A lot of the associates like to get dressed up, and that's the one time a year I'll wear a tie. I'll wear a bow tie, or I have an abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer tie.
nice.
And I'll wear that and some slacks and a pair of wingtips. Every year I'm not going to wear the wingtips again. They hurt my feet walking around. And every year I'm like, you know what? I'm getting suited and booted to go to work today. And by the time I get out of work, I have to drive with my shoes off because I can't.
Yeah.
It hurts so bad.
I know.
And all
It's
for
rough.
just one, hey, Bill, you look good today. Thank you. And as I pass by them, I'm like, fucking ow. Ow.
It is. It's kind of demoralizing. But at the same time, you're like, well, okay, that was my one and done.
Yeah.
And, now it's back to the comfort zone.
So, yes, go.
Yeah, how do we want to, proceed?
Well, I have a few things written down, things that happened in 1983. Some I will probably be spoilers for your lists and mine, but it's, it happens.
Yeah.
But so you're a couple of years older than I am, but you said born 79. I was born in 87. So, I only really have one memory of the 80s. I shit you not. It is from late 89. I was in the hospital because I had pneumonia, really, really terribly.
Oh yeah.
I was 2 years old. It was late. Oh, I'm going to say it was November, December 89. I was in the hospital watching PB's Playhouse.
Yes.
When we
That shit was great.
when we get there, that Pee Wee Herman impression is coming out in full force, and I don't really care if anybody likes it or not. But do you have a certain memory of the 80s when you're your favorite memory of the 80s, pop culture or otherwise?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. So, so I have this I have a weird relationship with the 80s.
Okay.
I love the 80s. It was my childhood. There are so many pop culture things and so many things that we'll talk about on this episode that I was like, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this part of me that has this super affectionate nostalgia and love, deep love for a lot of the things that about the 80s, but it's partnered with, the 80s were probably the most traumatic time of my life in my family.
A part of me wishes I wouldn't ask this question now.
No. It's not upsetting. It's just I was grew up in a house with a narcotics addict, and it was crazy.
Okay.
And so the thing about it is, though, I did what most 80s children did and found my solace and happiness in music, movie, and TV.
Hell yeah.
So that is kind of why this is so it does really pull those really vivid memories of yes, I remember when this happened and I remember that this came out, even though I was pretty young. It's there was so much kind of associated in that time where it's a pairing of events of in my house and then what else was happening that my memories are super vivid of that time on a lot of stuff. Now, some stuff's a little over my head. When I was watching that 80s documentary, a lot of the political stuff. And I kind of remember, my house was a house that had the news on all the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of remember that running in the background, but did I understand the significance of what was going on? Absolutely not.
No.
So.
No. But that does scan because so you were growing up in the 80s. I was born in 87. I grew up in the beginning of the 90s. So, but the same principle still kind of rules. My mom was a single mom, and there were a lot of us kids. So, and I was the only boy, so I found solace in TV shows, in ABC sitcoms, and I didn't really get into music till I was in high school, really, but. There's movies, TV shows, Urkel, Full House, even a little Balky, Perfect Strangers.
Heck yeah.
And things like that. So I mean, it's the same principle. I think every kind of kid who gets to be left alone for a little while ends up doing that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it's like, now I wonder, like for Audrey, I kind of wonder what that'll be, because there's this like pull between, she watches like TV shows, but then she also like, there's the whole YouTube thing. And so like what,
well,
I wonder what that'll be like for her.
I think YouTube is beneficial because as I'm doing research for the show, Sophie will pop her head in and be like, can you explain to me what's going on in this video? I was like, yes, I sure can. I guarantee you're going to learn about this in social studies in a few years, but yeah, I'll give you the extra credit.
Yeah.
So I think YouTube's beneficial in that way of having that little time machine into what what your kids, what the parents were into when we were younger. But like Sophie absolutely loves Steve Urkel. She thinks he is a hoot.
Yeah.
And but like sitcoms from the 80s, like Family Ties, she thinks is just absolute dog shit. She's like, I know that guy. That guy's from Back to the Future, because she loves Back to the Future.
Yes.
As everyone is wont to do. But like Family Ties, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, It was like that. I went through that experience with Audrey with like Full House.
Mm-hmm.
So I started showing her Full House, and she wanted nothing to do with it. Loves Fuller House.
I don't love Fuller House. That's the problem.
You and me both, my friend. And so when Audrey was like all about watching that, I was like, are you for real right now? I was like, but look, it's the same characters, but when they were younger, she's like,
yeah. Look, Jesse and Joey are putting the baby in a turkey pan. That's not funny to you?
She was not having it. So I'm like, it'll be interesting to kind of see what her nostalgia will look like. But yeah, I think, 80s was the time of like the latchkey kid. It was that, things were just different in how parents did. It's funny because you being born in 1987, that's when my sister was born. Mm-hmm. So her and I are 8 years apart. And so that's, she has like a very different, it's just interesting. And then I think also what's interesting is even some of the stuff that we'll talk about, like when it comes to TV and things like that, growing up in a house that had no cable.
Oh, hey, we didn't have cable until actual cable television. I'm talking about like more than ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, UPN, and Fox. We did not have that until 2000.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah.
Well, no, I would say 1997 when I went away to college, because if you didn't sign up for a cable connection, you had no TV.
Exactly.
Because there's like no access to like an antenna.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if I mentioned it on one of our collaborations before. When we got cable, my mother contacted the cable company and had them cut out MTV from the lineup.
Oh my God, you said that and I just can't.
Because it wasn't edifying to the Lord.
Listen.
Which I get it. I get it. If you're trying to protect,
I get it.
You're trying to protect me. That's one thing.
I will say, when I was watching that 80s documentary on HBO, so the way that it's laid out on that is, it's not by year. So you know how like VH1 or things like that would do.
I love the 80s.
Yeah,
yes.
they would do I love the 80s, and it would kind of go by year.
I watched every episode in preparation for this.
Yes. So the 80s one on HBO goes more by topic. So they have like an episode that's all about like Ronald Reagan. And then there's an episode that's like all about MTV and music, And so when you say that, it kind of makes sense, because the fear that like parents had of what was like that it was like practically porn and inappropriate and heavy metal and, and it just, it was like, I can see how parents would have been like, oh, we got to get that shit off our TV.
Well, as an overprotective parent now, I mean, MTV at that time, 99, 2000 was all the Real World and Road Rules and these 20-somethings wanting to fuck each other all the time. And I get it. I do get it. I just wanted to watch TRL. That's all I wanted to see. I wanted to see whether NSYNC was going to be number one this week or not.
I know. So so I don't have a ton. Now, I will say, when we start to talk music, I remember I feel like it was The Weeknd. Mm-hmm. in the mornings when my parents, like, when you'd try to go watch like Saturday morning cartoons, and like Soul Train would come on. And then there was like a snippet of videos that was like,
It was NBC. It was Saturday morning videos.
yes. Yep. And I used to watch that. And so that's how I had seen some music videos. Yep. And then it's really been like more so later on looking back that I've seen videos. So, cause I didn't have access to MTV at this time either.
Yeah. My wife and I we have one of those Roku TVs in our bedroom, and they have all those thousands of channels you could select from. There's a totally 80s channel. So I put it on, and the video for Rapture came on. Blondie's Rapture. My wife gave me the most dead-eye look, and she's like, "Are you seriously singing along to this fucking thing?" I'm like, "This song is money," and she's like, "I don't like it." Although I'll give my wife it gets some credit. She loves 80s music. It's more just the hair metal that she likes.
Okay.
Hair metal, Queen. What else? Like Genesis, Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, things like that. She's not really a Blondie fan, which Blondie should be a genre of their own.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and give these eyebrows to that. Okay.
What? That Blondie should be a genre of their own? Because they should.
No, your wife doesn't like Blondie.
She does. I don't think she likes "Call Me," which everybody should like that song.
Does she like Heart of Glass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of that, I heard Miley Cyrus cover that a few weeks ago. It wasn't terrible, and I wanted to hate it.
Miley Cyrus is kind of the shit.
No, she's not. But
yes, she is. No. Here's the thing: she has talent.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Like
what's that song?
Her covers of some stuff is like.
What's that hit?
What did she just? I just listened to something she covered from Stevie Nicks.
I've heard her cover Gypsy before, but what is
a different one?
She covered Heart of Glass. She has a single out right now that's an original song that actually fucking is a banger. I really like it.
She's got some good stuff out there. I mean, I know, same thing. I kind of have that same feeling of like, Miley Cyrus, but then I'm like, I can get into this.
Yeah.
So I don't love to watch her.
No.
I would rather just hear.
No, tween boys like to watch her. But
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know who's all about that package, but it's not me.
Well, enough talking. Let's get into it.
Yes, please.
With some more talking. So I'm going to go first because the music tends to go faster because, as I said before we went live, there's a limit to how much music I could play on the show without getting kicked off of YouTube. So, but with first, let's go for some fun facts about 1983. And there are some fucking it's self-explanatory. So first things first, the United States Football League debuted. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's fine because they went bankrupt after 3 years. I think it was supposed to be a major competitor to the NFL and never kind of really happened. Kind of like how if you remember the first run of the XFL in the early 2000s, that was supposed to be a major competitor. And then when it relaunched last year before COVID hit, it actually, you know what? I was a fan when it relaunched last year.
It did well.
It did really well. They didn't have, the first thing, they didn't have wrestling announcers announcing the fucking football games. They had actual people, actual sportsmen.
Yeah.
And I had a team picked out. I was the New York Guardians fan. And I'm like, all right. And then COVID hit and their contracts all got sold to the NFL. So, and then Dwayne Johnson went and does what he does best and take over everything. He bought it. So now it'll be back in a couple of years. USFL went bankrupt after 3 years and folded in 1986. So.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't know that much about that at all. I had to look into it. This might spoil your list a little bit, but I mean, the theme song is in my fucking head right now, and it will not leave. Fraggle Rock debuted in 1983.
Yes, it did.
I don't know if anybody's as much of a fan of the Muppets as I am. But when you get the Muppets and then you get a derivative of the Muppets, as in Fraggle Rock, which is still, I think, Jim Henson Productions, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love me some fucking Fraggle Rock. Is Fraggle Rock on Disney Plus? Do we know this? I'm gonna look that up quick.
Yeah, I thought that it's on something. I can't remember if it was on Disney Plus or if it was another streaming service that got it.
Because there's a big announcement it was available somewhere.
Yeah.
Dance your cares away. Worries for another day. It's not on Disney Plus.
It's on Apple TV.
Son of a bitch. I'm not paying Apple any more money.
No. Fuck Apple.
No, I'm a proud Samsung user now. Let's see. Oh, this is sad. Karen Carpenter died in 1983. Which,
yeah.
I didn't know that much about the Carpenters, and I did some research, and their music is very lovely. It's very soft. It's like, I don't know, it's like the 3 a.m. soft rock, kind of.
It's like an aesthetic.
That is the best description of the Carpenters that I have heard thus far. It's an aesthetic. Holy shit!
It's like its own aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like you just, it's just got a consistent vibe, and it's like it kind of takes you to a zone.
Yeah, and Karen Carpenter had passed away from complications of an eating disorder, which, if anybody thinks eating disorders don't just destroy your body, they do. So if you have one, please get some help. That stuff's not funny. All right, this is going to spoil mine. Thriller hit number 1 and went to number 1 for 37 consecutive fucking weeks.
Yes.
Only to be dethroned by the Footloose soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
I thought something else was going to come along and beat the shit out of Thriller, because how are you going to dethrone something that fucking good? But then you get the Footloose soundtrack, which, I mean, is good in its own right. Because, I mean, Kenny Loggins can write a song, but Thriller is still one of my favorite albums.
Yes.
Still. And think what you want about Michael Jackson. Genius. Genius musician.
It's so hard. The whole, like, separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but
especially because there's so much information about his personal life.
I know.
And,
it's one of these things where the best way to kind of get your brain is to go back and watch, like, those original videos, those original performances, and just kind of, like, see it for the art that it is and consume it for that.
Exactly.
It's a tough, like, reconciliation to make in your brain.
Like, and then go back and watch the video for Billie Jean. It is magical. It is magical, and he's doing shit you never done before. Mm-hmm. And I will say Thriller sounds better on vinyl than digital or CD. That's just, I have a copy of Thriller on vinyl, and it sounds way better.
I had it on vinyl. I don't know where it is anymore. Like, I definitely had it. I loved it.
Yeah. My mother got it for me, I think, 2 Christmases ago on vinyl. And I remember thinking to myself, she did this on purpose because I didn't have a record player. But I'm like, all right, well, guess I'm going to Walmart.
Yeah. Nice.
This might spoil yours, but it needs to be said. The series finale of MASH was in 1983.
I did not bring that up, and I figured we might just talk about it because because there is so much, like, cultural TV situation going on that I was like, I have to narrow it down somehow. Yeah. So I tried to just stick to debuts.
Okay, that's fair.
So but I did see that like MASH ended, and that was a big deal. It
was the number 1 rated series finale for 2 decades.
I remember in my house, and it was funny. To this day, I can't remember what book I was reading, but it was some like a young adult novel type thing. I was older, but in the book, the author describes the main character is in some sort of a precarious, of course, she's like talking to a boy or something. And it's like, I could hear in the other room the theme song from MASH come on. And I wished I was in there with my parents watching it like we do every night because I'm so nervous. And I was like, that is such a, like, it was like one of those moments where if you were in like a TV show, you would have been zapped into a flashback.
Yeah.
You know, like that's right. Like the MASH music coming on at nighttime, because it always was like at night, and it was when everything was winding down. Like I do remember that.
Now, please don't attack me for this, but I have not seen a single episode of MASH.
You know what though? It was not for like my age either. And so I just remember it being on and being kind of aware of it, but I wasn't interested in it.
I've seen clips.
When I was out young.
I've seen clips and they're very clever. The humor was very clever of like, you know, wartime Vietnam. As funny as you can make the Vietnam War, which there's not much you can make humor out of the Vietnam War.
No.
But I swear to God, every time I hear or I read about the show MASH, I end up thinking about Stewie Griffin on Family Guy, drunk, singing the theme song to MASH. And it makes me giggle every time. But have you ever seen the movie MASH?
No,
No,
I've not.
It's something. It's not funny. I don't think it's meant to be funny. There's some. I think there's some like tongue in cheek humor in there, but the TV show is way different than the.
Yeah.
Everybody lost their fucking minds when MASH ended. I don't know
that
when
was
it
a big
premiered,
deal.
but I don't think that record was broken until Seinfeld ended in 2000, and then when Friends ended in 2004. I don't think it was beaten until then. But I'm gonna have to go back and watch that show because I hear it's good, and things I've seen about it, it's all clever. But moving on. Oh, Melissa, the fucking Swatch Watch came out in 1983.
Listen, let me tell you. First of all, in my family, we would have this Christmas grab bag.
Yes.
Right? And on my dad's side, he has 3 siblings and they all have kids. And so they would do all the kids, you know, got switched around and we would have this grab bag. So it was almost like one of your cousins got you in the grab bag.
Okay.
And my cousin Dory, who was like the coolest. She used to wear Malibu Musk perfume.
Oh, shit.
And she loved Betty Boop. And she had that giant Swatch watch that hangs on the wall. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what the fuck you're talking about. Of course I do.
Okay. So one year, by the grace of the Lord, she got me in the Christmas grab bag and she got me a Swatch watch.
Fuck yeah.
Oh. Let me tell you, it was like everyone else was opening toys and shit, and I was like, I got me a Swatch watch! Like, I'm so excited. Oh my God.
Well, the thing about the 80s is like, I'm still young enough to know the older shit, and I'm old enough to remember the older shit, but I'm still young enough to appreciate new shit, and I know what the fucking Swatch watch is. My sister Sarah, who was born 84, she had one of those giant Swatch watch things on her wall, and it was a working clock. I had to like think to whether it actually worked or not, or it was just a piece of wall decor, and it fucking worked. It was a wall clock.
So rad. Oh.
If you have a spare $1,800, you can get one on eBay right now.
Nice. I don't have a spare $1,800.
No, I don't either. And
kudos to those of you that do.
Even if I did, I still wouldn't. But I would go for I would go for an old can of New Coke instead of a Swatch watch. Or the Coke with the cocaine in it. Give me a can of that instead of the Swatch watch. But yeah, it's interesting to go back and see some of these pop culture things that came out in the 80s, and then go to eBay and look and see how much that they're worth now. Your head would come off your fucking shoulders.
I know. It's like,
what was the number one thing I looked up from the 80s? A fresh off the line original Nintendo system. Ooh, they are expensive because you can get like the new Nintendos, like it's like still the older model, but they have all the games like in the system already.
It's I forget what they're called, but it's like you buy it and it's got all the games are loaded in it or whatever. And
but
it kind of looks like the old one.
One of those fresh off the lines like seal not broken Nintendos. They're easily 5 figures. to buy one.
That's so crazy. It's like justifying fucking hoarding. I can't go look at that stuff. It's just, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Don't give justification for keeping all the shit.
I am a hoarder though. Like I have VHS tapes littered in this office.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean,
I'm trying to think of the weirdest one I have. No, it's probably well, no, there's Friday the 13th Part 3, but most of them are like, there's Dracula, but most of them are Charlie Chaplin movies.
My parents keep trying to give me all of the Disney VHS movies that they keep hanging on to, and I'm like,
my wife has those at her mom's house.
I don't know what I will play them on, Dad. Like,
well, I still have a VCR, so
we still have VCRs at school. And there's some ride or die things that I have not been able to get in anything but a VHS. And it's, it is a painful, like, oh my God. Well, when they won't let us purchase a VCR anymore because now it's crossed over into, it's like an expensive piece of equipment because it's so
vintage,
not used. It's so vintage. Yeah. So I know it is crazy to look at some of this stuff, and
I still have one of those things. The last VCR, the VCRs that Walmart offered before we stopped carrying them, was one of those DVD VCR combos. Yeah, I still have one of those. It's on the other side of my office, the other side of the basement. And I don't have it. It doesn't hook up to this TV that I have in here. So I gotta.
That's the other thing. Yeah, it's like
I gotta buy a converter for it.
Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy.
Let's see. That doesn't really impact us. I'll skip through that. Speaking of vintage shit, the first commercial CD player came out in '83. Which, I mean, CDs are still for sale. I mean, and some CDs are like wicked collectible. But I do remember
I was a late CD adopter. I was convinced that it wasn't gonna go.
8-track user?
No, cassette tape. Thank you. Okay.
Don't be offended. The cassette sound effect is in the Gold Star bumper. I know you know that.
The Maxwell, like 90 minutes.
Yes.
And then you could tape off the radio.
Yeah. Hit, record, play, same time.
Yes.
Same time.
That you could make your mixtape. I'm sorry, but when CDs first came out, I was like, this is going to go the way of the beta. Get out of here.
Listen, I met my wife in 2000, and I made her a fucking mixtape. I made her multiple mixtapes. She has promptly, over the last 20 years, thrown them all out. But
so we just got this year, we had to replace a car. So we got a new car.
Okay.
The car that we replaced still had a cassette, and we had to use it to plug our phones in. Like we had to get, those adapters to put in your headphone jack. Yeah. Like we still had one car that still had the tape deck that we were like,
My mother, when I was younger, had a red 92 Dodge Caravan. And that fucker had 2 tapes. 2. The Lion King soundtrack that came out in 93.
Okay.
And an 80s mix. The first, and I remember the track listing. The first track was My Sharona by the Knack. I love that song. Second was Heart of Glass by Blondie.
Yes.
And third was the Pina Colada song by Rupert fucking Holmes.
Oh my God.
If I could ever do enough digging to find that cassette tape, I would. I don't take my money. I'll buy it.
Oh my God.
Just for the nostalgia alone.
Hilarious. Yeah.
You were convinced that CDs wouldn't catch on?
Totally. 1,000%. I was like, you can't record on them. So no one's going to keep doing this. It's stupid.
Well, and then
then when like the CD like Walkmans came out, I was like, they fucking skip all the time.
They do.
This is bullshit. People will just keep using cassettes, and I was hella wrong.
Well, Punchline, you can record on those CDs.
True.
But I don't think you were able to burn a CD until like 95.
Yeah, I was. So I was a late CD adopter.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I do love an 8-track. I swear to God, if I could find a cheap portable, like at the Goodwill or something, a cheap portable 8-track, I would go shopping for 8-tracks.
We used to put 8-tracks in at my grandma's house. She had an 8-track player, and we would play around with ones that she had gotten. You know, it's like, what's this?
Yeah.
You know, and
I believe my mother
play that.
had, I want to say it was Glass Houses by Billy Joel, an 8-track. I want to say. We never played an 8-track. I've figured out how to work an 8-track later in my adult life, but I just like...
Well, you know, at my house, we didn't have one. My grandma had one that I think she like bought at a garage sale because we were record people. So
Yeah.
we had, you know, we had a lot of like 45s. We had a lot, we had a lot of that. So it was like, well, you use the record player to do this, you know, like my aunt, she had one whole wall of her house. Like when you see it in those like, you know, in movies of that time when people really collected vinyl, she was one of those people that had the whole wall of like, they're just albums.
Nice.
And I was like, this is so cool. And I would just like go and, you know, when she had Christmas, it would be at her house. Her bedroom was the room where everyone would dump their coats on the bed.
Yeah.
And I would always end up in there thumbing through because that's where the wall of vinyl was. And I was like,
awesome.
You know what? Let's go in Auntie Dorothy's room and look at her records.
Were you one of those?
Why don't we go do that?
Were you one of those people who thought Laserdisc wasn't going to catch on? Because if that's the case, you were absolutely right.
Yes, I'm sure. I was here for VHS and cassette tapes. Thank you very much. They do everything I need.
Speaking of eBay, you want to go on and find some Laserdiscs. They fetch a pretty penny as well. And you can't find a Laserdisc player. They don't work. So there's no sense in buying them.
Right.
Motown 25. Michael Jackson did the moonwalk for the first time in 1983. And everyone lost their fucking shit.
Yep.
And then when I saw it for the first time in like 2000, 2001, promptly learned how to do that shit.
That was all the rage. It was every single kid was trying to moonwalk. Everywhere you went. Like every, you know, recess, every like kid party you went to, it was all about the moonwalk. Yeah. For sure.
I can imagine. I quite like to piss off my wife now because we'll be grocery shopping and she's like, shit, we forgot milk. And I'll have Lennon in the cart and I'll be like, all right, we're going back, and fucking moonwalk all the way back to the milk.
It's awesome.
She's like, you're great at that, but you're embarrassing me. Stop.
I don't think I ever figured out how to really do it right.
It hurts.
Not my talent.
And now that I'm in my 30s and I walk all the time at work, it really does. It's complicated and it hurts.
Yeah. It looks like it.
It's like my joints, they hurt. I can't do this no more. Oh, fuck me. 1983, the Cadbury Cream Egg.
I hate Cadbury cream eggs. They are so sweet. It's just, they're too sweet for me.
They are. They are.
They're
but like,
so sweet. But
when I was a kid and I had resilient teeth, fucking Cadbury cream egg shrapnel coming out of both sides. I don't care.
Even when I was a kid, I didn't like this. Now, see, my daughter kind of is like this too, sort of. I am a dark chocolate person. My dad was a dark chocolate person. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's something like in that flavor profile because like I like coffee and like, you know what I mean? So my daughter will like a dark chocolate. My husband can't stand it. And he actually prefers like white chocolate, which I'm like, that's so sweet. That's not even chocolate. And he loves the Cadbury cream eggs. But let me tell you, those mini eggs with that hard candy shell. Yeah. That's unfortunate because when I buy those, I embarrass myself even all by myself. Like, what have I done? What have I done here?
Listen,
did I buy these on like a 2 for $7 and then ate a whole bag? And now I'm only dumping one bag into the candy bowl and we're going to pretend like that ain't going to get all eaten by me?
I do that with peanut M&Ms.
Yes.
Yeah. Peanut M&Ms and jelly beans.
So fucking good.
Which is why, in my 30s, I now have very, very big problems with my teeth. So kids, watch the amount of sugar you eat and brush your teeth.
I know.
But, yeah, I will buy 1, maybe 2 Cadbury cream eggs per season.
Yeah, I buy 1 for Drew every Easter.
Because it is like soft sugar napalm. That shit sticks to your teeth. Even if you think it's gone, it is not gone. And if you have a cavity... No. No.
You light that shit up.
Oh, fuck me. No, I won't do it. Sally Ride, first female in space on June 10th, 1983. So I was reading into this, and everything seemed to be going okay. First woman in space, fucking money. Awesome. She's, by all accounts, she's just as capable as everyone else who went on that mission. But then when she had her little confirmation thing, the questions that they asked her were the most sexist horseshit questions that I've ever heard. Like, will anti-gravity mess up your menstrual cycle? Do you cry under pressure? Are you fucking kidding me?
No. It's that shit happens.
I was like, NASA, get your shit together.
It's brutal.
Like, and then, but like, women astronauts now are commonplace. So like, I don't know how to word it. I was offended at the questions that they asked her.
Yeah.
And this is how many years removed? 30, almost 40 years removed. Still.
I know.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
So moving, but she deserved to be there. So let's just Sally Ride, bad motherfucker. Mario Brothers debuted 1983.
Yes.
I know. Listen here. So we got the kids a Switch for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, finally. I said, you know what? I want to get all the original Mario games. They're going to look great in 4K. Haven't gotten those yet. What I got was a 3-pack. Super Mario 64, which was a fucking banger of a game. Love that game.
I don't know if I've played that one.
Super Mario Sunshine, that game can get fucked. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. But Super Mario Galaxy has become the bane of my fucking existence.
I feel like that one was hard.
This one came out for the Wii U.
Okay.
And it's one of those, 3D modern Mario games.
And that's where, video games are not my talent.
It takes place in space. Oof. Which, okay, I'm okay with. It is the most difficult fucking thing I've ever... It causes me anxiety. I've thrown the controller more than once. And I'm sitting there chain smoking because this little fucking fat Italian plumber is pissing me the fuck off. 86. Okay. I already booked a co-host for 86. So you know what? Okay. No. We'll do. No, he can move to 87. Who the fuck was that? What did she say?
She said cancel them. Fuck them.
We'll just reschedule. That's fine. So, do you have anything to add before you head off to 90 Nights for 1983? We were just talking about.
I was -3.
-3. We were before you hopped on. Super Mario premiered, or Mario Brothers premiered in 83.
That's a great game.
Yeah, great game.
Still play it.
Yeah.
I still can't save the princess. That never happened.
I still not beaten the original Mario. Still haven't.
Really?
Can't do it.
No.
I'm always small. I'm always small when I get to the end guy. Can't be done.
You got to hit B and then keep your thumb on B and then hit A at the same time to speed up and run, jump over Bowser.
Yes.
You know what? I'm okay. I'm secure in my lack of saving the princess. It's fine. I can at least get to the end.
That's fair enough. I was just
I know how to warp.
I was just telling Melissa that the Super Mario Galaxy for the Switch is pissing me off to a level that I have never been pissed off at before. Red face, like full Irish temper coming out. The game is a piece of shit. And we got it mostly for Stacy because she wanted to play the Mario games. She's like, oh yeah, Switch Mario games. And then she made it through one world of Galaxy and she's like, all yours. I'll just watch you play. I'm like, no, this sucks. I will beat it. I've given up for now because my anxiety level for it is just, I don't have it. I don't have it. But the last Fantastic Foursome episode we did talk about that Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lennon gave up on because he says it's stupid, which I concur.
I never did go and like hunt it down.
I think you're better off, really.
That was the consensus last time, and so I don't know that I'm missing much. But
Yeah.
we were talking. We also were talking about Michael Jackson Thriller album.
What's your view on Thriller, Raptor?
That was a good album. I did like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I was telling Melissa it sounds better on vinyl than it does on CD or digital. I mean, everything kind of sounds better on vinyl, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, save for, I don't know. Barry Manilow, I suppose sounds like shit, but I'm not a Barry Manilow fan.
I don't know. I'm one of those people where I think I'm okay. Like, I don't. It's just like when you were saying, if you see something in like 4K or whatever, I'm always like, it all looks fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it all kind of sounds great.
I'm a stickler for high definition
me.
because my eyesight sucks, so I need to see stuff really, really clearly. Like if I hook up this tube TV and the VCR that I have on the other side of the basement, I'm not gonna be able to see a goddamn thing. So everything needs to kind of be clear.
My husband will always say that, like when he puts in a Blu-ray or something, and he'll be like, "You really can't tell the difference between this and like your old VHS of this movie."
Yeah.
For example, The Labyrinth. It's my jam. He's like, "You can't," and I'm like, "I don't know. I mean, this is fine. The other one's fine. I still love it either way.
Yeah.
I don't really see a huge difference." And he's like, "You don't see how they've remastered all the," I'm like, I don't know. Looks fine to me.
I'll say that to Stacey too. She's like, gotta say, don't give a fuck. Okay.
And I feel like that can be me a little bit sometimes with music. The only time I really notice with music of like if something doesn't sound as good is like if it's really significantly bad.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, wow, this sounds weird. Or
if
it
it's
sounds
like
like far
remastered, but
away.
it ends up being worse than the original cut.
Yeah. Or like where there'll be something funky, like where it's very different or very noticeable. But other than that, I just am kind of like, yeah, it sounds all right to me.
Yeah. Except for, I did really recently listen to a remaster of Rupert Holmes' The Pina Colada Song, and it does sound fucking amazing. Song's still a banger, fucking 40 years later.
Oh my gosh. You need to be drinking a pina colada in honor of it.
I was going to have, I did research, and I found the number one cocktail of 1983 was the Amaretto Sour. But I don't have any orange juice, and I did not really feel like going out to get any.
I have had an Amaretto Sour. I've never made an Amaretto Sour.
Oh, it's just like splash, splash, splash. Drink it.
There's not enough alcohol in it for me.
If you make the Amaretto Sours like mine, there's plenty of alcohol.
I need vodka in there.
Spoken like a true adult.
I mean, I'm not fucking around.
No.
Amaretto.
Amaretto's got my wife turned me on to those. And it's a slow burn kind of cocktail because there's not that much, the alcohol volume in it is very, very low. But if you drink enough of them, because it doesn't taste like there's any alcohol in it. So you can keep...
I'll have some Malibu.
What's that, Raptor?
They will get you fucked up.
Oh, they'll fuck you up.
Well, they are easy to drink. So if you drink it in high volume. See, for me, my volume of drinking has gone down. Like, I want my drink to be, like, all I need.
Yeah.
I don't
must
need
be big,
9
must
drinks.
be strong.
Like, just pour me a glass of vodka, and splash a little something in there. We're fine. I'm good. I'm not fucking around. I don't want a bunch of 7-Up and all that shit, orange juice.
No,
or the vodka.
Through my research, I did find out that 90% of cocktails that were popular in the 80s had orange juice in some way, shape, or form.
That makes... that I feel like visually and just everything you're saying about that, it
Or
sticks.
it had sour mix in it, and 9 times out of 10, it was powdered sour mix.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if you've ever tried powdered sour mix. It's bad.
I have not, but I'll tell you what I have tried and was kind of delighted by. Got me some Seagram's wine coolers.
Oh.
You know?
You're really sticking with the 80s, aren't you?
Yes. I told you when I go with a theme, I go with a theme. And we had like an 80s, I don't know, we've had so many times we've done like an 80s type thing. And I was like, oh, I'm buying wine coolers. Like, this is where it's at, right?
Bartles and James.
Oh my God. I couldn't find Bartles and James at the stores I've been at. They only had Seagram's, and it was like the red, like strawberry daiquiri, and then like that blue tropical something or other. And, you know, you got like the 4 flavors or something in a box. And I was like, but it's again, like, they're sweet. Like, they're really sweet.
I don't think I've ever had one.
They're like, they're easy to drink, but they're very sugary. So it's like,
I don't think I've ever had one.
Yeah, they're pretty delightful.
I don't think I would desecrate my home bar with wine coolers.
I think I would absolutely pour myself a wine cooler with a nice vodka floater.
Though I did desecrate it with a bottle of 99 bananas, and I hate banana flavored shit.
You can make what is it that has banana in it? Not a Mai Tai. Rum Runner?
No. What did I make with it? I made a Malibu Bay Breeze with it for my wife. No, what was it? Fucking what was it?
There's something, because I remember a couple of times when you get those weird fruity named cocktails at a bar, you know, I'll be like, oh, let me see the cocktail menu, and it'll be like Mai Tai and all that stuff, and I'm like, one of these has got banana in it, and I don't want nothing to do with that.
Oh no, it was a banana Malibu Bay Breeze. That was what I bought it for.
Sound right.
And
I think we should have you do shots of that banana shit.
No, I refuse. No? I refuse. No. No, I would do a shot of pure blue curacao before I do a shot of 99 bananas.
You know what I have a question of? Was it more 80s, 90s, or 2000 schnapps?
Schnapps, I feel, was early 90s.
Like all of a sudden, Pucker. Pucker.
Pucker was when I was in high school. It was like 2000, 2004.
Okay, so that's definitely later than 80s.
I remember my twin sister coming home and saying she got turned off of shots of sour apple pucker.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like sour apple pucker. I don't like it straight. I'm not going to do shots of it. But
even like one of those like the apple martinis sometimes I struggle with. It's that because it's like a false apple.
I love an appletini.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
I'm the gay one.
Yeah, I mean you do like members of the same sex, so that would make you a gay one. Yeah, no, I know. I'm not gay. I know I don't make a case for it, but I'm a fan of vodka martinis, straight martini. Yes. Like I'm any martini. So, except for the chocolatini, because fuck you.
Oh no, I'm here for a chocolatini. I'll drink that for you.
Okay, bet money. I'm not going to drink that. That's just I don't like chocolate and alcohol together. But I'll drink an appletini. Absolutely. The second most popular, I think it was the second or third most popular cocktail of the 80s was Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Which I don't think I've ever had.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
Pretty. My grandma, so I had a mean grandma and a nice grandma. And my mean grandma, who was very like Stepford Wives, you know, it was like a full suit when she would go out and, you know, very uppity, always ordered a white wine spritzer.
Listen, I don't like wine to begin with, but adding the word spritzer onto it and throwing some tonic water in there is not going to make me drink it.
Always the white wine spritzer. Always.
I've
never had one. Have no desire to have one.
It's like I've had a gin and tonic. I've had some things with tonic water with some soda water in it, but I'm not going to straight call it a spritzer because that's I don't know. I don't know if I feel like it takes away from my masculinity or I just don't want to drink it. But I'm not drinking anything called a spritzer. I won't do it.
I can deal with the name, but just the idea that, like, what are you doing? You put a pop in your wine? I don't understand. Order a glass of champagne. What are you doing?
Oh, that's worse. Champagne's disgusting.
At least the bubbles are there, though. Like, you're not trying to... what are you doing? You're putting pop in your wine.
I dry heat at my wedding because we toasted with champagne. Now, my wife was pregnant at the time, so she couldn't try any. She just toasted with it and put it back down. I decided to drink the champagne and then made a giant right in front of everybody.
I don't mind champagne. Well, I like sweet champagne, not dry champagne.
I don't
like that. Yeah. I don't like wine. So,
like with a mimosa, I can't get with that shit either.
Oh, I can fuck up some mimosas.
I knew you'd have something to say about that.
Listen, I don't know if it shows, like, I'm here for sangria. Like, turn that shit into some fruit punch, and I'm here for that.
No.
But I don't know, wine for me, it's not, I don't know, I can't get into it. But
I'm a straight liquor
certainly
beer
can't get
kind of
into
guy.
no, I certainly can't get into no white wine spritzer. Grandma Marlene.
I think that's an old lady drink. An old, like Golden Girls kind of spritzer. Or if you're Blanche, just straight grain alcohol. And penis. Blanche was a hoe.
Listen, don't be hating on Blanche. Brought her own flavor.
I did not say I was hating on Blanche. I'm just saying Blanche got around. Wasn't she the one that was fucking Cesar Romero in that show, or was that Betty White? Raptor, you know Golden Girls better than anyone I know.
No, it was Blanche.
Is Blanche? I knew it. Because only Blanche would fuck the Joker.
All I know is I know where I stand and that I'm a Dorothy. My friends have all said it. I'm not going to have shame about it. I'm going to tell you like it is because I'm a Dorothy.
Fair enough. Raptor, we're gonna move on with 1983. You gonna stick around for a couple minutes?
Yeah, stick around for a couple minutes.
Okay. So 1983 was Nancy Reagan's introduction of the DARE program. Yes. Turns out teenagers don't really care for the articulated PowerPoint presentation to tell you not to do drugs or not. They prefer the do it and see if we die approach.
Listen.
Because they stopped DARE when I was in middle school. I don't remember a DARE briefing. I'll call it a briefing. After middle school. Did it stop me from trying every hard drug that I tried? No. And the phrase "just say no" didn't work.
It was big. It was big. It was a big thing. I remember it in school. I actually was the person that I got picked when you had to write like a DARE essay.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to read it at the big like DARE thing. It was a big deal. And the whole time I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, well, I've seen all kinds of drugs in my house. So it was a little surreal, but it was. I definitely remember that being a big deal. Was the DARE program at school?
Yeah, it was. They hammered that in more than anything.
Yeah, well, because it would have been later on for me. I want to say I was maybe for me like in 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
So it would have been well established by the time I went through it. Because, like I said, in 83 I was 4. So it would have been like it would have been probably at its height when I went through it.
They eliminated the DARE program in Central Bucks, where I went to middle school. I came to this area mid 7th grade. They eliminated DARE in Central Bucks 1998, 1999. It's like, it obviously wasn't working.
Well yeah.
But I will say, I think Nancy Reagan got a little bit too big for her britches in the 80s. So,
well, you know.
And
she wasn't on the ballot.
That's funny.
I'm just saying, like, I get trying to do something with the whole first lady thing.
Yeah.
But you weren't picked.
Yeah.
So,
And then we had shades of that recently with fucking Melania Trump. Let's see. The last thing I have. Well, the last two things. So 1983 was like the first instance of Black Friday hysteria with the release of the Cabbage Patch Doll.
Oh yeah.
People,
Okay.
motherfuckers straight trampling over people.
Yes.
Like causing people bodily harm to get these ugly fucking things.
Yes. So my mom did get me a Cabbage Patch doll, and I would have been probably 5 or 6 when I got mine. So it was like a little after 83.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so. My mom, when I was a kid, worked at the hospital. She was a housekeeper. And at Christmas time, she would get us to pick up a second job. And her second job was at fucking Toys R Us. She was like straight up working for Santa, in my opinion. I was like, Mom works at Toys R Us. So she did not have like the chaos because I think, she was working there, so she was able to get me a Cabbage Patch doll. But I remember, because I remember her being like worried about it. Like, I'm working this fucking part-time job and I gotta deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And literally after cleaning up like blood, bone, piss and shit at the hospital, she's got to go deal with that chaos at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And so I remember like it was a pretty big deal that she got me one. And but I kind of was like, I know we got it in because Mom's working at Toys R Us.
I never understood the appeal of the Cabbage Patch Kid.
They're weird. But from what I remember as a kid, I think the appeal was that it's a little fuzzy, but from what I remember was like how it came with like a birth certificate and a name, and it was almost like they were closer to custom, even though they weren't custom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there were so many varieties, and you were going to get like a different one. Like you had to, and I think that's the first time I remember there being a dollar toy that was you were kind of chasing it because you were going to get like a certain one.
Yeah.
And it was maybe going to be different from like all your friends' ones. You probably wouldn't have the same.
Right.
Because that just had this like weird appeal. Where now that's like commonplace, right? Like there's so many things that are like that are customizable, or you can even. I mean, now the whole doll thing is you get dolls that look like you, the whole nine yards. I mean,
if someone got me a doll that fucking looked like me, I can't stress this enough. Would kill myself. Don't give me something that looks like me.
Yeah.
I don't like the way I look in the first place. Now I gotta stare at this piece of shit.
And then there's just the creepy factor.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
It's gonna be like the Urkelbot. It's just gonna get up and start moving and fucking try to kill me. But then history repeated itself in 1996 when the fucking Tickle Me Elmo came out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all remember this, but if you got one of those defective Tickle Me Elmos, and it's 2:00 in the morning, and all you hear is tickers, creepy as fuck.
No, thank you.
Kind of like Teddy Ruxpin when the fucking batteries would die, and he starts fucking Satan talking.
My cousin had that shit. She had Teddy Ruxpin, and I was like, Erica, no, we cannot. I was like, put that away. I was like, don't be putting weird tapes in the back of it. Stop it. Because you could put any cassette tape in the back of it.
For sure. It is fun. I imagine it is fun to get a Teddy Ruxpin and put a little Judas Priest in there.
To me, I was like, you be dancing with the devil, girl. Put that thing in the closet.
The last kind of notable thing I have for 83 is Vanessa Williams. She became the first African American Miss USA.
Oh my gosh, that makes me think of how like I used to always watch Miss USA.
I've never seen it.
Really?
There's no interest in it for me at all. Like nothing in my wheelhouse.
I mean it's like a princess thing,
Yeah.
Now I haven't thought about that in 100 years. Yeah. I totally used to watch Miss USA when it was on. It was like a television event,
Yeah.
Miss USA pageant.
And it was a big deal because she was the first African American to do so. And then she posed for Penthouse and had to give up her title.
Yeah.
Because people lost their shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, her body, she could do what she wants with it. So,
I mean, you know, it was fine to, you know, strut across the stage. I don't really see the difference.
yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's like notable events of 1983 that I had. I skipped over some that weren't really that important. But so now I'm going to burn through music and songs. And this is where shit gets fucking, this is where the money is in 83. Literally. So the top albums in 1983. This was the year-end charts. The most popular
I'm
albums.
gonna actually go.
Raptor.
Oh.
Okay,
You're allowed.
you're allowed.
Thank you so much for dropping in.
Thanks for popping in, Raptor.
Yes.
I miss you, dude.
Miss you.
That's a lie. Don't fucking lie to me. So we'll get hopefully we'll get more of these Raptor drop-ins before she returns to the show full time. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you around.
See ya.
Later. It's the red button Raptor.
Oh my god.
All right, so there's only 6 albums on this list,
Okay.
but they were the 6 highest grossing popular albums, and I know you can guess what number 1 was.
Sure.
But number 6, I didn't know it would be here. Business as Usual, Men at Work,
Oh.
and I fucking love me some Men at Work.
Yeah.
Like they weren't popular, but they were popular enough to consistently make good music.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely some dog shit music that came out in the 80s. A lot of cocaine fueled. Mm-hmm. We think this sounds good on the influence, but when it comes out, it's just nothing but a minor C chord synthesizer note for 90 minutes. There's some awful music.
Yeah. The thing, with 80s music, I feel like, there was so much cool shit that came out of the 80s, but then there's also some stuff that was kind of like just for fun. But I don't know. Like, I think Men at Work, to me, I remember that they were Australian.
Mm-hmm.
And like Down Under was like the big, like that's the one that always comes to mind.
Yeah. They do a song called Overkill.
Yes.
That is a lesser known song, but everybody seems to know it.
Yep.
It was also on one of my favorite episodes of Scrubs. But that song, I think, is their best song.
I do love that one.
It's good, and I'm one of those people who, if I can find an acoustic version to a song I like just one single guitar, I'll go looking for it. And that song Overkill slaps with just one acoustic guitar.
Really? I've never heard an
It
acoustic
does.
version of it. That's awesome.
Oh, if I find it, I'll send it to you. It's really good. So number 5, the Flashdance soundtrack.
Yes.
And I fucking love me that Flashdance soundtrack.
Yeah.
Steel Town Girl on a Saturday night.
Oh my
That
God.
I love that
Listen,
soundtrack.
first of all, can we talk about the fact that I fucking loved Flashdance so much? And it's like it's a movie about a stripper, an exotic dancer. And here's the thing. And this is worthy of this story here, because I don't know when else Flashdance will really come up in my life. But
Okay.
I loved Flashdance so much. Like, I watched a million times, love the music, love the movie. You know, for me, it was the origin Pretty Woman. It's like you start with Flashdance and then you graduate to Pretty Woman. Okay.
Oh, sidebar, real quick. I saw Pretty Woman for the first time in the last couple of years. And that movie comes with a lot of hype because of Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, both fucking A gamers. They bring their A game all the time. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is.
And I wanted to hate it.
I know. It's just great. It's just great.
Yeah.
So Fast forward to I'm in college. So I'm probably, I don't know, 20, 21, almost through with college. And my cousin, okay, so one of my cousins that I'm really close to, she's younger than me by like 3 years.
Okay.
And her cousin is getting married. And
Okay.
she's in the bridal party. And she gets invited to the bachelorette party. And in this invitation, she comes to me and says, and I work in the city at this point. I was working at Nordstrom. And she comes to the store and she's like, I need you to help me. She's like, look at this bachelorette party invitation. It tells me I got to bring a pair of underwear. And I said, what? Let me read it. So it says you got to bring a pair of underwear for the bride that will have her guess who it's from. Like it'll give some clue. So here we are combing the fucking racks all up and down Michigan Avenue. Like, what the fuck kind of party is this? I don't even understand. So we're already thrown off by that. And so then Erica says to me, it says bring a friend, so you're going to go with me. And I was
no.
You know what? I don't even know your cousin Terry. Like, I don't,
Right.
And she's like, I was like, are you sure? And she's like, no, you're going.
Yeah.
I need someone. You're going. All right, fine. So we go to this party. It's at her house. First thing that happens when we walk in is there is a man in assless pants.
As you do. Okay.
Serving Jell-O shots off of a cookie sheet in the most crowded ass house full of women I've ever seen. Like I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, so cue some questions. I said, so what's happening here? And the bride proceeds to tell us that there will be performances this evening. Hence, like Flashdance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to see a stripper. It's like Flashdance, right? It's
Yeah.
not like Flashdance.
No, I
It's
never
not.
seen a stripper. Never been to a strip club. I don't think it's. But
it's
I
not.
don't have it.
Bill, it's really not. It's really scary.
How dare you use my government name? Listen, I've never had the urge or the need to go to a strip club. I'm married. I can see full frontal nudity whenever I please. I don't need to pay for it.
There were so much acrobatics involved. And there was at one point a stripper showdown. The first guy who was serving the Jell-O shots was named Romeo. And then a second guy showed up named Zeus, who would refuse to come downstairs until Romeo finished his show. But all the girls wanted Romeo to stay.
Shut the fuck up.
And my cousin started bawling. And I was like, Erica, what's wrong with you? Because when this guy came by, he looked at her and said, nice tits. Because I think he wanted you to put dollars in his little, G-string. And she, being like even younger than I was, so she was probably like 18, was like, so I have to like drag her upstairs. I was like, what the fuck is happening? So we're sitting on the porch. I was like, okay, let's call our ride. Like, we've been drinking. Let's call our ride. It's time to go. We're done.
Right.
And as we're sitting there waiting for the ride, some girl busts out the front porch and starts heaving over the side rail. And I was like, this cannot be, this is not Flashdance. This isn't what happened in Flashdance. Like, this is my first stripper situation. And this is not at all like the Maniac song or the bucket of water or any of that. Like, I don't know what's going on here. This is not okay. So that was my first stripper. And unfortunately, I was put in a position to be at yet another bachelorette party in which there was a stripper. It's a lot of baby oil. It's a situation. It's not good.
I don't.
It's not good.
I don't get the appeal of strippers.
Well, I think it's that because they're there to embarrass. It's like embarrassing. The only thing I've ever been to is a home show like this. So it's like someone hiring it for like a party.
Yeah.
And the idea is to make everybody uncomfortable and embarrassed, and like it. But then what is disturbing is like the people there that get super into it. And then there's acrobatics and like suddenly things are happening and I don't know what I'm watching and I don't want to know this about you. And it's intense. So that was what Flashdance now makes me think of, is that it was grossly misinformed, that is not what you get in the show.
I can guarantee you that Romeo and Zeus did not want to be professional dancers.
Romeo did show up at the wedding, though.
Oh no, he did not.
Erica, so I didn't go because this is like her cousin. That's not my cousin because it's like the marriage stuff. And she goes, "You're never going to believe this, Melissa." She's like, one of the bridesmaids like got his number and then brought him as the date. And I was like, oh man, you cannot make this shit up. It was something else. So that's what Flashdance makes me think of.
That may be one of the best stories I've ever heard.
God damn. Grossly misinformed.
We'll move on from that. Number 4 is Synchronicity by the Police. Now, I'm not a fan of the Police. Not really. But I hear they did make consistently good music.
Yes. So the Police, to me, my vibe is like now as an adult, I can appreciate that it's really good music.
Yeah.
And there were definitely, but I remember as a kid, and maybe it's because of like the music videos and things associated with it, I found them creepy. Like
that song, "Every Breath You Take," is the best song about stalking I've ever heard.
I mean, and so they had this creepy vibe. So then as a kid, I kind of had that weird, like when you'd hear a Police song come on, like I like it, but it kind of creeps me out. Where now as an adult, it doesn't really, but
yeah.
I had that kind of weird, like I like it, but I don't know if I should like it because they're creepy. And I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah. I mean, to me now, like I'm more of a Sting fan than I am a Police fan. Because he plays an incredible bass guitar. He really does. He's an insane musician. Mostly the Police for me is just trying to figure out their chord changes and their time signatures and everything like that. Kind of like Rush for me. Like I love Rush. But mostly because I'd like to consider myself a quasi-musician. I play drums, I sing. I can play a little bit of guitar. I was just trying to figure out their time signatures, their chord progression, their chord changes, their bass hooks, things like that. Every Breath You Take has this insane bass hook. Mostly for me, it's just appreciation of the musicianship of the group instead of the actual, like, they are a great band or anything like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, I have to be jealous of stuff like that because I don't understand anything you just said.
Fair enough.
I was a person who was never able to like access learning about actual music or how to play it, or I've never played an instrument or anything like that. My hidden talent with music is I can very quickly learn all the lyrics to songs, even ones that I hate. And
same.
It's like, why is this now in my head? Why do I know all the words? Sometimes it works to my advantage. And then number 2 is I am the original Pandora. I can make a bomb-ass playlist.
Fuck yeah. I never actually learned how to play drums. I picked it up and just ran with it.
That's amazing.
I get that from my dad. My dad was a musician. My dad opened for Kenny Rogers, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
He opened for Willie Nelson a time or two. He plays guitar, although he has Parkinson's, so he can't play anymore. But he also played the drums. It's exactly where I got it from.
Yeah.
All my musical ability, I believe, comes from him.
That's so cool.
So, the singing, never took a singing lesson. I was in choir when I was younger, but other than that, never took a singing lesson. Just kind of manifested itself.
That's amazing. I have none of that. But like I guess killer playlist. I got you.
Like I can pick up on what pitch you're starting out at and kind of roll with it from there. Although I can't sing harmony. Like I can't harmonize with people. It's just I never learned how to do that. But I hope to because I mean it's that vocal group that's really popular, Pentatonics.
Yeah. I
really like them, and they are a harmonizing bunch of son bitches. Yep. So I'm trying to learn through listening to them, but it's not going so well. I'll stick to singing the melody.
Nice.
Number 3, Mental Health, Quiet Riot.
Wow.
I know.
I didn't see that one coming.
They have one hit.
Yeah.
That did not even make it, I'm pretty sure. No, did not even make it on my top 25 songs.
That is crazy because, and what is that one hit?
Come On, Feel the Noise.
Yes. I was like,
Spelled exactly the way you think it needs to be spelled for a song like that. Yeah.
wow. I wouldn't have seen that one coming as a top album. Okay.
Me neither. But I feel like that was the beginning of all of the 80s hair metal and heavy metal type music. Because if that's hitting the top 5 of the year of 83, then we're about to unleash Poison and Rat and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue, my personal favorite, and every fucking hair metal band under the fucking Striper, the Christian band of hair metal.
How about some Vixen? They're pretty.
I've never heard anything by Vixen.
Oh, you know what? A Google image search alone will tell you everything you need to know.
Okay.
They're amazing.
Heart, female rockers.
Yes.
I fucking love Heart. Yeah. So I've listened to that album all the way through, and it's something. It's certainly not they're not the best musicians on the planet. They're not. But I think for a kickoff of hair metal and shit like that, I think it's a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, Come On, Feel the Noise is a rad song.
It is. It is. That's one of the first drum fills I learned how to play was Come On, Feel the Noise.
Oh, nice.
In church. So that was that.
Oh.
Well, I had my headphones on, and it was really right after I started playing drums. I had some guy guiding me, my friend Shane. I had him guiding me on how, because he plays drums as well, guiding me how to put things together. Not so much play, but just put fills together. And I had my headphones in, and the thing that came on was Come On, Feel the Noise. And I was like, okay, guess we're going with this.
Nice.
Just let's not let anybody on this stage see the description of the song that I'm listening to.
Okay.
Number 2, Can't Slow Down, Lionel Richie.
I love Lionel Richie so much.
I love Lionel Richie too.
Oh
that
my
fucking that song Hello is just. I mean, it's a little bit a bit outside of my vocal range, but I can sing it.
It's so good.
It's so good, and he's constant. He constantly has good music.
I went to see Lionel Richie in concert.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
It was by accident, so the way it happened was Drew's sister had bought tickets, like, you know how you buy tickets like way in advance and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to see Lionel Richie this summer. And then something happened where she actually ended up booking a trip on top of the concert and then was like, shit. So she was like, what am I going to do with these tickets? And then she ended up giving them to me and Drew. And I was like, okay, first of all, I know that I love me some Lionel Richie, but I have never been to a concert like a Lionel Richie concert. Like, I've been to a lot of punk concerts. I've been to a lot of rock concerts. What does this look like?
I feel like he would put on a good show.
It was amazing. Like, because when I think of Lionel Richie, it's like there's upbeat stuff, but then there's also a lot of like slow jams. And I was like, in an outdoor amphitheater in the summer, like I can't get my head around it, you know? And so then we went and I was like, I mean, literal grown-ass women just swooning. Left and right. Left and right.
Listen, I know a little bit about Lionel Richie. I've seen some footage of him with the Commodores, and people losing their shit.
Oh, my God. It was so good. So good.
And then when he broke out on his own, I could just imagine just swimming in underwear flying on the stage.
Oh, my God. He was so good. Such a showman. It was like... He played some Commodore stuff, and then he obviously played a lot of his own solo stuff. And it was like just the way, you know, because it's like when you start thinking about like some of the songs that were, you know, big ones like 3 Times a Lady and like Easy Like Sunday Morning. I mean, those are like kind of slow jams, you know. I mean, there's like Dancing on the Ceiling, which is, but so I was like, and it was just thoroughly enjoyable. It was so cool. And I was like,
I would see Lionel Richie.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just, again, like I had not been to a show like that, you know, and it was really cool. It was very lucky.
That's kind of what happened when I saw Billy Joel a couple of years ago. Like Billy Joel is my favorite artist, always has been, but he's up there in age, so I know what goes on with my favorite artist. I know he's had hip replacements. I know he's
he's gotten into car accidents where he's crushed his hands. So I had high expectations, but I didn't know the fucking show. He got up and played the piano with his ass cheeks at one point.
Oh, yeah.
I was so fucking impressed.
We've done, Drew and I have seen Billy Joel and Elton John twice. It was rad.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I'm not as much of an Elton John fan as I am a Billy Joel fan.
Okay. That was my exact...
But I would have loved to see them together.
That was my exact statement to Drew when we went to go see them. I was like, I don't know about this, Drew. Like, I was like, I'm really into Billy Joel, but I don't know about Elton John. And then when you get there, you suddenly realize how many Elton John songs you know. And then you're like, oh, yeah, no, this is rad. I'm here for this. It's...
Yeah, I've had one of their face-to-face albums, their live albums before. And when they get together and sing Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, it is very good.
Yeah, and their dynamic is really cool. Like it's a really cool show. Like I feel very fortunate that I've seen it. It was really a cool thing.
I'm officially jealous. I would have liked to see one of those tours, but Billy Joel was on my bucket list, and my wife made that happen. So I will be forever grateful. And that number one is Thriller.
Clearly,
I think we said all we need to say about Thriller.
oh my god, I love everything about it.
All right, so the singles in 1983. This is where it gets interesting because all of these songs, minus a couple that I'm now aware of, fucking slap.
Bring it. I want to hear it. Let's do it.
25, Little Red Corvette, Prince.
Yes.
I will say I'm repping the Purple Rain t-shirt tonight.
Yes.
I'm a Prince fan. I cried when he passed away.
Yeah.
Such a musician.
Yes.
He played every single fucking instrument. There is a clip that I keep frequenting on Facebook, and it's of him playing his song Cream, which is a good song, acoustically on a guitar, and it's fucking amazing. It's just fucking amazing.
It's incredible. He's incredible.
Did not know that Little Red Corvette is about a vagina. Didn't know that.
Oh no!
Until my later years. Yep, it is about sexual congress.
Okay.
But what about Prince isn't about sexual congress?
True that.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeping with the fucking slappers, 24, Africa by Toto.
Yes. Why is that jam so good?
Because Weezer brought it back into relevance.
Oh, that's not why.
It is a little bit. Africa is a good band. I've only heard a couple things by Africa. Or Toto, excuse me. Toto's a good band. I only heard a couple things by them. Africa is hands down their best song.
Yes.
But it is dated.
I know, but it's so good.
It is good. Don't get me wrong. I prefer the Toto version over Weezer. However, Weezer's version is up there.
All right.
So I think they brought it back into a little bit of relevance. That's why.
I mean,
because it did chart again. The original one charted again after Weezer came out with theirs.
It's so good.
But it is, it is heavy on the synthesizers and shit, as 80 songs are wont to do.
I know, but
it is very good.
Love it. Love it.
Again, to 23, wait for it. She Blinded Me with Science. Thomas Dolby.
Fucking love that song. It's so dumb but amazing.
It's so fucking weird.
Yes. Do you know how many times my well, first of all, my cell phone's text message noise is a sample from True by Spandau
Crowded
Ballet.
House?
No, it's like
Spandau Ballet,
yeah.
okay.
But for some of my work contacts, because our department is family and consumer sciences, I for a while had science was like my noise.
I do that sometimes, and Sophie will be like, I'll be like, how's school today? Well, in science class, science!
Oh my
Shut
God.
up, Dad.
But it's so dumb. Like, if you were a record company and, like, that was the pitch, like, here's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We got a song. We're going to go science a lot.
Yeah.
But it works. I love it. I don't know why. It's just, it's a fun song.
It is. And you know what? I've never heard a cover of it, ever.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting...
I'm sure they exist.
Yeah.
I'm sure they exist. but it's so uniquely weird.
It's like it's got to be that weird, like, 80s thing. It just...
Right.
It's its own little thing.
All right. Keeping with the slappers, 22 Electric Avenue, Eddie Grant.
Gotta rock down, too.
It's so good.
So good. Well, because it's one of those songs that's like, as soon as it comes on, you're like, oh yeah, I'm bopping to this.
Yeah, they used to play it at our high school dances, and apropos of nothing, like, I don't know why they did. But they did, and every kid would start fucking dancing to it.
So you gotta rock down too. Electric Avenue.
21, I didn't look up this song, but it's called Jeopardy by the Greg Kihn Band.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what that is?
I do think I know what that one is.
Maybe I didn't think it was worth my time, but I didn't look it up.
It's definitely not as poppy as some of the other stuff, but I do feel like I know what that is. Here's the weird thing about 80s music. So in my dad was always all about Motown. And
I love Motown.
So that's where I get, like, we always listened to the oldies station when I was a kid. That was who he was, like, and so I know all that Motown music because of him. And he was hell-bent on, like, that's the only thing we would listen to in the car or whatever. The 80s is defined for me by the only snippet and snapshot in time of my entire life that my mom listened to music at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't ever remember her since the 80s, like, in the car turning on the radio. Otherwise, she just leaves it off. Silence. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I will hear stuff like that Jeopardy song, or I'll hear stuff and it's like, it kind of, I was really aware of current music in the 80s because it was the only time my mom would put the radio on in the car. But she would use, instead of the oldie station, she was listening to whatever was like probably like the adult, like, you know, mix kind of a...
Like adult contemporary.
Yes. Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, we weren't getting Beastie Boys on there, but, you know, I mean...
I fucking love me some Sabotage.
Oh my God! I've seen that.
I know, you said you didn't know what I was talking about, but the bass hook in Sabotage is fucking nuts. And it hits you right in the dick.
Yep. I've seen them too.
That's a story for another time, because I feel like that's a story all on its own. They deserve more time than we have.
They're just awesome.
20, I Know There's Something Going On by Frida. I don't know that song either.
I bet you it's one of those things where if I heard it, I probably have heard it, but maybe it's not like it's not making it onto a lot of my playlists.
Yeah. 19, Twilight Zone by Golden Earring.
Ooh, that does sound familiar. Yeah.
Again, I'm going to refrain from playing anything lest we get in trouble, but I will update this to the playlist and then probably listen to it.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
I feel like the Twilight Zone one you might, or at least it'll sound very 80s to you.
The heavier the 80s influence on it, the better the more I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A banger. Let's Dance, David Bowie. Yes.
We used to always say, there's like the line in that song where he says, put on your red shoes and dance. Mm-hmm. That for some reason, it always made me think of Katharine Hepburn. Like her voice and being like, put on your red shoes.
Put on your red shoes. Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it's like, it's my own little private joke in my brain when I hear that song. It's so stupid. Like, why do I?
That's funny. Because I quite like the way Katharine like as she got older, her voice kind of would skip like a CD every once in a while. Put on your red shoes. Yeah,
right. It works. Yeah. Now that you heard, like now that you see that visual, now that'll be in your brain.
Oh, fuck you, Melissa.
I don't know.
Now all I'm thinking of is On Golden Pond, which was my grandmother's favorite movie. Fucking her and Peter Fonda.
Yep.
All right. This should be higher on the list, and I don't know why it's not. Hungry Like the Wolf, Duran Duran. That volume goes all the way up when it comes on the car.
God,
it's
so
in my
good.
library.
And one of my
Duran, man.
I mean, who can explain it? Like, it was so weird. Like, like as a kid, I wasn't wild. Like, obviously I gravitated at this age, especially, I don't know that I would have been super into like the visual of Duran Duran, but I liked Hungry Like the Wolf a lot. Mm-hmm. And I just remember like that whole kind of, I don't know, like that new wave, like that.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah, like it's so cool, but like it's so bizarre in a way, like
new wave is cool until you get to like Devo. I feel, because Devo was a little weirder.
Well, there's definitely some weird shit
like,
in there, but there's
wave.
also like a lot of stuff that's just like it somehow just really works, and it's its own thing, like it's its own genre.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands to see live is Real Big Fish. I'm a ska band girl, and
I don't know who they are.
They in the 90s had their big song on the radio was "Sell Out." You probably would know it if you heard it. And
you'd be surprised.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
My kind of ska-ish knowledge begins and ends with No Doubt.
Well, at least
because I'm a No Doubt fan.
At least you have that,
and I know you are. I know you are too.
100%. But Real Big Fish does a cover of "Hungry Like the Wolf" that is so good, so good. Okay. And there was actually a whole. It was like a punk tribute to Duran Duran that I bought the album, and it was all covers from like punk and ska bands of Duran Duran songs. It was really cool.
I feel like the Duran Duran song that's covered the most is "Ordinary World."
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I don't hear "Hungry Like the Wolf" covered enough. I'm gonna look up that one.
Yeah, it's a good one
that you just said. 16, "Never Gonna Let You Go," Sergio Mendes. Yeah. Do you know that song? No, me neither.
Because when you say "Never Gonna Let You Go," I'm here for Rick Astley all day, every way.
I fucking love that song.
I don't know how you couldn't. I don't know how you could not listen to that song, discover the man, and be like,
over me.
Wait a minute, that voice comes out of that guy?
Exactly. Exactly. I love him all the better because he frequently collaborates with the Foo Fighters, and I love the Foo Fighters. So that's fine. Here, another slapper. "She Works Hard for the Money." Yes, Donna Summer.
Donna Summer. Yes.
God, so much talent on this list. Fucking "Shame on the Moon." Bob Seger, number 14.
I want to say, is Bob Seger Old Time Rock and Roll?
Yep.
That was my Bob Seger jam. Yeah. That I knew every word.
That's everyone's Bob Seger.
We used to sing it.
Everyone's Bob Seger band, or "Like a Rock."
We used to
because
sing.
Because they use it in those Toyota commercials.
Yeah. We used to sing Old Time Rock and Roll on the swing set. Like me and my little neighbor best friend. Like when we were swinging, we would be like, just like that old time rock and roll. It's so stupid, but that's what it makes me think of.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so this next song I take issue with because I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it with a passion. "Come On Eileen," Dexy's Midnight
Runners.
I
like "Come On Eileen."
I hate this song.
And an excellent cover of that song is done by Save Ferris, another ska band.
Save Ferris? Mm-hmm. I know who they are. I can't stand it.
Try their cover. It's good.
Okay. All right. You haven't let me down so far. 12, "You and I," Eddie Rabbitt and Crystal Gale.
Yeah, I'd have to listen. It was one of those ones where I might recognize if I heard it.
Maybe. 11. I do like this song. "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me," Culture Club.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
I do like that. I do like that song.
I was obsessed with Culture Club's Look. Like Boy George.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah. And then Boy George, you kind of figure out he was kind of a wackadoo.
A little bit.
And did he die?
Why do I feel like yes? But hold on, let's just double check.
I know George Michael passed because that was a big deal.
No, he's alive. But Boy George is alive. Yes, George Michael is gone, but yes, still alive.
So now we're getting into the fucking top 10. And when I said 1983, this is where the money is for music, the top 10 is where the fucking bank is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I'm
ready.
ready.
10 Sweet Dreams are made of these, the Eurythmics.
Oh, Annie Lennox.
That Annie Lennox does a cover of I Put a Spell on You. That is so fucking good.
She don't do anything wrong.
It is a shame that song was on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack and not released as a single because it is so good. She is a powerhouse, that Annie Lennox.
Oh, that's
and
a
that
good
song
one.
is so good. And I thought it had come out later in the 80s. I didn't know it was early in 93. Or 83, 93. Forever stuck in the 90s. 9, here comes Flashdance. Maniac, Michael Sambello.
Oh, yeah. And
that song is so
everyone thinks about those feet running.
Yeah.
From Flashdance.
Yeah.
So good.
8, Baby Come to Me, Patty Austin and James Ingram.
That one's a more of a like slower jam.
Baby come to me. Yeah.
That's
it's one of those like I feel like James Ingram cornered the market on 1, duets, and 2, smooth jazzy rock kind of like if you took a drive at 2 a.m. and turned on AM radio, it would be James Ingram.
Yes, you will also hear it walking around in the grocery store. 100%.
I guarantee you not at Walmart radio. We're not playing a lot of James Ingram, but maybe like an independently owned grocery store. Yeah,
I feel like it's one of those like, oh yeah, I like this. Let me buy some stuff.
It is a good song.
So good.
It is a good song. Oh fuck me, Maneater.
Oh my God, I was wondering if you were going to say this. So Maneater. All right, so I've seen Hall & Oates also.
Damn.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I thought Maneater was about like a cannibal.
I think.
So let's all put ourselves there of little Melissa at 4 years old, hearing Maneater on the radio, thinking it was about like she's a man-eater, like as in she eats men.
She eats flesh.
Scared me. It scared me. But it was another one of those creepy like I like it, but I don't know if I should like it because it's about eating people.
Yeah, but I mean, as you get older, it is. I think it's one of Hall & Oates' best because it's a foot stomper. It's a toe tapper. Yeah. Where are we? Oh, number 6, Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. A song that I despise.
Turn around. Total Eclipse of the Heart, weirdly enough, out in 1983, was the theme song, I want to say, like the theme of our like freshman year homecoming dance in 1993. Really?
Oh.
When I was in high school. And I was like,
okay.
Total Eclipse of the Heart, huh? I mean, I'm here for it, but, I just didn't see that coming.
I despise this song.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. So when I was in high school, once I got to like late sophomore, early junior year, 80s music was all the kids were listening to. All the old Run DMC, Aerosmith, AC/DC, things like that. Total Eclipse of the Heart was played at more high school dances than I cared to fucking admit. And it just got like I rarely went to a high school dance because let's be honest, no one was fucking dancing with me.
Oh yeah, I never went. I was always on the student council and planned the whole thing, and by the time my fingers were bleeding from tying so many fucking balloons, I was over it.
I was holding up the wall, as they say.
Well, and dancing is not my strong suit, you know. So
well, there's the thing. Dancing is one of my strong suits. I did take dance class when I was younger. I do have some rhythm for a white guy.
I don't know.
Still, I wouldn't condescend enough to get out there by myself.
If I could have been DJ in the joint,
thank you.
Then I probably would have been there. That's my speed.
Fair enough. All right, top 5. Here it comes. Beat It, Michael Jackson. Yep. Yeah. Fall Out Boy does a decent cover of that song. With John Mayer on lead guitar.
Let's check that out.
And
I've also seen Fall Out Boy in concert.
same.
Yeah.
Same. Finally a concert we've both seen. I saw it was Paramore and Fall Out Boy.
Yep.
They did a headlining
Same.
tour. You saw? Oh, okay, yeah. One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
It's awesome.
That little girl has the voice
Yes.
of a fucking I can't of a rock demon.
Yes.
That's what I would say. I am a hardcore Paramore
Yes.
fan. God, the voice that comes out of that tiny thing is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. But Beat It, Michael Jackson. It's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen on guitar.
Oh, that video was so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking amazing. Oh, the gangsters are all dancing at the end. This is just it's incredible.
So good.
Number 4, Down Under.
There you go.
Men at Work.
Vegemite sandwich.
Have you ever had Vegemite?
No. I almost did.
I don't recommend.
I threw an Australia-themed bridal shower once, and someone did bring Vegemite, and I did not try it after watching the reactions that came out of the people who did try it.
Okay. So my kind of philosophy is I will try anything once. Anything, with the exception of a few things. So I did try Vegemite. I did not know that, 1, it was black.
Yes. It looks like tar.
2, exactly. I knew it was a byproduct of some beer making process. Okay.
Is it
So was molasses.
very salty? Is that right?
It is nothing but salt.
Yeah, that's what everybody was like, oh! And so I was like, I think
Yeah.
I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
And I don't like a lot of salt.
Me neither.
So I didn't know what I was in for. So I had it on some toast. And honest to God, the best flavor out of that bite was the fucking toast. That shit sticks to your tongue.
Oof.
It does not get more malleable as you work it around. It is just like, aha, ha, ha.
Sorry, Australia, but no.
No. And one more reason I'll never go to Australia. No. I'm having flashbacks of it now. It's just like if you absolutely want your blood pressure to skyrocket,
Vegemite.
have a little Vegemite. 3, Flashdance. What a feeling. God, that entire Flashdance soundtrack is money.
Yes.
I love that
So
soundtrack.
good.
Now, I'm surprised that this was number 2. I didn't know it was not number 1. So number 2 is Billie Jean
Yeah.
by Michael Jackson. I can say comfortably, and I will never do it for anybody, so don't ask. That entire Motown 25 Billie Jean routine, including the moonwalk, I do know that. Every single move of it.
Wow.
Have not done it in years. Will not do it for anyone again. But just in case I need a weapon for something, I have it in my back pocket. There was a time when my wife and I were gonna do some kind of dance break at our wedding. It never ever came to doing that though. But she wanted me to do it at our wedding, and I had agreed to it. But then we ended up not doing it. But if you look on YouTube far enough, and I've buried it in the annals of YouTube, so no one will ever find it. You could see me and my wife, when she was in college, doing Thriller for her sorority.
I think you should be sending me this link. Why should I dig for that?
Because I'm embarrassed that I know that. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I'm here for this.
I don't know. If I find the link, I will send it.
When you find the link.
Okay, number 1.
That's called I just misviewed you. That's what that was. Sorry. It just happens.
Listen,
It's part of my personality at this point.
it was on one of my old cell phones, and I uploaded it to YouTube maybe 10 years ago. Might have been 10 years ago. And I buried it in YouTube with like the most nondescript description ever. I buried it.
I'm going to need you to find it.
If I could find it.
I'm going to need you to find
If
it.
I could find it. If I could find it. Number 1, Every Breath You Take by The Police.
Yeah.
Again, It's the creepiest. It's the best song about stalking that
So
I've
creepy,
ever heard.
though. But so good.
But it's
definitely on my Halloween playlist.
so good. I wouldn't put it on a Halloween playlist. It's going to make it on this 80s playlist for sure. I don't know what kind of playlist I would make it on. It's a hard song to describe, and the introduction alone, the ding 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 right at the beginning, you don't know if you're going to like it, but then you just end up letting it play.
Yeah.
I am a habitual song skipper on my Amazon Music. That one always stays on.
Well, one that didn't make it on the lists that I have to pay homage to is Miss Cindy's She's So Unusual. Was in 1983 is when it was released, and I had it on vinyl, and it was Cyndi Lauper was my first big, like, I was idolizing her, it was
Really?
like, I remember very distinctly in first grade, we had an activity where we had to draw a picture of like what we wanted to be when we grow up. And then we had to share, because I remember all the desks were like in a circle and they were like going around, and I was new in this class. So I was a new girl. And so that's part of why the memory, but the teacher and I got into it because she said, okay, what's your, and I said, well, I want to be Cyndi Lauper when I grow up. And she's like, oh, so you want to be a musician? And I said, no.
No.
I want to be Cyndi Lauper. No. Oh, you want to be like a punk rocker? No.
No.
I want to be Cyndi Lauper. And she was like, but that's not, like, Cyndi Lauper's a person. And I was like, uh-huh. And when she's all done, I'll be her. And that's what I want to do. And I think at that point, the lady was like, let's just skip you and move on. Let's do it. Another fireman, teacher, mailman. Let's go back to these kids over here, because you don't make no sense, kid. Like, but she was, she is another person that is tiny, and the largest voice comes out of her body. I have seen her in concert now, I think 3 times. The first time I went,
oh, cool.
I was stunned. I had no idea, seeing her in person, how much her voice fills a theater. And she's just this teeny tiny person. And the coolest show I got to see was the anniversary of the She's So Unusual album. She did a show where she actually played the album in order of the tracks and then told you the story behind every single song.
Those are my favorite.
That was like so
those.
cool. And Girls Just Want to Have Fun is a song that I didn't know it until I saw Cyndi Lauper in person. I didn't realize what it really meant to me as a kid, because when my parents would get into knockdown, drag out, physical, violent fights, I would turn on that record and listen to Girls Just Want to Have Fun, because it was like right there, like just start the record, like they're fighting again. And when I saw her perform it the first time, I couldn't, and I'm not like a crier. That's not me. In case you couldn't tell. But it was like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking cry. Like, this is ridiculous. Melissa, get it together. Yeah. But it was so cool, because in 1983, when I was 4 years old, I would have never been able to go see Cyndi Lauper. But how cool that some of these performers have continued going out there and doing shows, so that when I'm finally my own grown-up person, I can go back and see these people is like the coolest. The coolest.
That's what I thought when I went to see Billy Joel. I was like, I'm gonna see him before he dies, because he's up there in age. Yeah. He's 70.
I know. My big one on my bucket list is Stevie Wonder, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen. I
don't even think does he even tour anymore?
He had like a residency in Vegas, and then he toured. The most recent time he came to Chicago, I was in California, and I was like, this has got to be like unbelievable. But he would be definitely a bucket list show for me. But yeah, Cyndi Lauper was unlike anything I had ever seen before. Just like the crazy hair and the New York accent and this. I mean, she was just something.
That is a thick New York accent.
Yeah, she's just something else.
And she hasn't lost it.
And like just watching her whole like trajectory of a career, and like how much she has reached out and like used her True Colors organization, and it's just she's so cool. She's so cool.
That True Colors song is one of my favorite songs to sing very, very softly, because I don't have the vocal range that she does. But I have a file on my computer of an acoustic version of that, just the guitar with no words, and I do have a recording of me singing to it.
So good.
But I'll just and Time After Time is my wife and mine's song.
It's the best.
Actually,
it's the fucking best. And those were all on that album. It's another one where it was like, I remember distinctly having that and Thriller, and like those two. I just kept going back and forth between those two when I was young. Like that, I just absolutely remember that.
I like those albums that every song on the album is a fucking banger.
Yes, I feel like the way the music business has changed now, you don't get the listen through album. Like I used to love a listen through, you know, and there's still some artists that do it, but it's I don't know if it's a dying art.
Well, you also listen to the albums all the way through of the artist that you love the most,
no
matter if they put out bad music or not. It's like, okay, the last real good listen through album that I've heard is Sarah Bareilles. It's called The Blessed Unrest. So that song with that is the album with that song Brave on it.
Okay.
That entire album is incredible.
I remember I loved Lady Gaga had a lot of listen through albums, and Paramore. They're like a listen through album.
Yeah. Even their last album, which wasn't their strongest, still great.
Yeah.
I think. Listen to the whole thing.
So great.
And Justin Timberlake as well.
There's someone that still craft like an album, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. I feel that the consummate musicians always bring it.
Do you remember that show, VH1 Behind the Music?
Absolutely.
And what was the other one? It was Storytellers. That's like what Cyndi Lauper did. It was like she sang and then she just sat there and was like, yeah, you know, I had this clock and was talking about time after time. And I was like, shut the fuck up. This is crazy. Like, Jesus. And it just felt so personal. Like, I can't believe she's telling these stories. This is amazing. And it was like everyone you could tell was hanging on to her every word. Like, just in the theater. Just it was wild. It was so cool. Yeah. So cool.
That Sarah Bareilles album, that she went back and did an intertrack. Like after every track, she would tell the story about what the song.
That's so cool.
What those certain songs were about. That's it for music.
All right.
I thought it was going to go quicker than it did, but I forgot who the fuck my guest host
I know.
was.
That's the hard part. And then also, like, there were so many good ones. It's easy to fly by the ones where, like, I don't really know this. And I feel like you're going to run into that as you get further through the 80s. Because it's like, there was, like, it's always in those transitions that there's kind of the slow burn of when, like, the decade's changing over. So, like, the early 80s still has more 70s to it than 80s. And it's like, right when you hit this spot, it's going to be hard.
Especially 80 and 81.
Yeah.
Like 80 and 81, like Funky Town.
Yeah.
That's like the last of the disco.
Right. So it's like, you know, so now it's like you're going to start every year, I feel like, having these kind of lists where it's like, oh, yeah, I know that, and I know that, and I know that. Okay, well.
Oh, so it is the fastest I've ever typed up show notes ever.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck
like,
yeah.
Easy, easy. Yeah. Yep. Put that one on there. Put that one on there.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're going to have to get, like, as it progresses, I think you're going to have a hard time paring it down. Like, okay, well, what do I leave off? You know, like.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I also, most times I'll just stick to like the Billboard ending charts.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I had to do with the TV shows, though. I was like, I'm sticking to debuts because there's too much material here. Like, it's of like what was on or popular. Forget it. Like, I was like, we'll talk about what started in 83.
All right.
All right. Well, let's do movies first. Please. All right. So I picked, so I did the top 10 list, and then I have my list of honorable mentions.
Okay.
So top 10 list by most successful, like, grossing tops box office. That's where the list comes from. So we'll start with number 10, Risky Business. Tom Cruise.
That's in his underwear.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Never seen it.
So I've seen it, but maybe once. It's not one of my fan favorites. But I can kind of, number 9 is going to make up for that for me, because this next one I've seen 1,000 times and might even watch it tonight after we're done.
Okay.
Mr. Mom. Yeah. Oh.
Mr. Mom is the first ever movie that I saw on VHS.
Let me tell you, I reference Mr. Mom. So do you know how many times me and Drew go like, yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes. Or then at school when we're in the parking lot. So sometimes my bestie that I will drive, one of my best friends in my teacher world literally lives 1 mile from me. And so sometimes we drive together to work. And when we have someone who's doing a real fuck job in the parking lot and we're like, south to pick up, north to drop off. We love Mr. Mom so much. You can't give chili to a baby. Like, I mean, it just...
Mr. Mom was, I think, the first time we got a little taste of how talented Michael Keaton really is.
It's so good. And again, gross misinterpretation of stripping. When they go to that club, it's not... So, Mr. Mom. All right, number 8, Staying Alive. John Travolta.
Yeah, okay, so when we did 1980, I got Urban Cow. I think I got Urban Cowboy or something else mixed up with Staying Alive.
It's one that I like. I've seen it because it's supposed to be so awesome, but it's not my jam.
Also, Sylvester fucking Stallone directed Staying Alive.
Yeah. It's just...
Which... What the fuck?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I get the cultural impact of it a little bit, but it's not one of my like go-to favorites.
I don't understand how you go from, yeah, we won an Oscar for Rocky. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to direct a dance.
Exactly. Like, what's happening here?
That makes no sense.
And now number 7 is the first one on the list that I haven't ever seen. Sudden Impact. So
I don't think I've seen
this
that
one is supposed to be an action thriller film that has Clint Eastwood in it. And it's a Dirty Harry movie. But, I've never seen it. So it's maybe one that, maybe I should add it on my watch list. I feel kind of a little remiss that I don't know that one. But I haven't.
The only reason I know of those Dirty Harry movies is because I'm well aware of the real-life detective that Dirty Harry is based on. It's based on Dave Toschi, who worked on the Zodiac case in San Francisco, and I am versed in Zodiac knowledge. So that's the only reason I've seen Dirty Harry, or what was the first fucking Dirty Harry movie? What was it called? It wasn't Sudden Impact. Oh, I can't remember what it. I can't. Go ahead, Punk. Make my day. That.
Well, that's this one is where apparently that catchphrase is used in Sudden Impact.
Is that movie?
But I don't know if that's the
seen
first. But it's just it. I think I would like to watch it. It sounds like something that I would be like into, but I have never seen it. Number 6 is Octopussy, and I have seen that.
I fucking love Octopussy. Listen, those Roger Moore Bond pictures are something else.
I think as a kid, my dad was so enthusiastic about Bond films, and therefore I would kind of get some joy out of the fact that he really enjoyed them. But I don't tend to go back and watch the old ones a whole lot. Like, I don't know.
I tend to go back and watch the Sean Connery.
Yeah. Even those sometimes I'm like, I like more I really love like the direction they've gone, with like the Daniel Craig movies, and those are, I don't know, but some of them are so corny. Like,
the corniest I think was oh god, it wasn't Octopussy. It was oh my god, I can't think of it. Is Octopussy the one where they went to space? No, I know there's like a Bond in space,
right?
One I can't remember, but I think the corniest one was like I think it was on Her Majesty's Secret Service, where it was in between Connery regimes, where Connery quit. The one with George Lazenby. Ooh.
Oh well.
Oh.
It's so I mean that one's on the list. The next one is War Games with Matthew Broderick.
I fucking love War Games.
I do. I like that one.
It is fucking 80s.
Oh.
It is.
Yes.
It's more 80s than I'd say The Breakfast Club. And The Breakfast Club is fucking the epitome of an 80s movie.
So the next one I've also never seen, and I'm kind of like ashamed to say it because it was a successful movie, but Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd.
I've seen Trading Places.
I've never seen it.
Multiple times. It's that movie where you start to see, like, there's 48 Hours that Eddie Murphy did with Nick Nolte. Trading Places, you got to see Eddie Murphy. It was like Eddie Murphy on parade.
Yeah. I feel like
he is a genius.
I feel like I need to like visit this. I don't know why I've never seen it, but
it's so good.
It never like, I don't know, it never just made it into my viewership here.
I will say Dan Aykroyd's not very good at it.
Yeah. So, we'll see. That's another one I should probably give a whirl. And then number 3 is Flashdance, which we've talked about.
Fucking seen
Yes.
Flashdance.
Number 2 is Terms of Endearment.
I've never seen that.
So this one, I feel like I watched a long time ago and can't remember it at all because I think it's one of...
Who's in it?
It's got Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito. I mean, it's got a lot of big names in it. But I want to say that I feel like it's one of those real fucking downers. Like somebody dies and it's real sad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm here for, like, I can deal with that sometimes, but like then it needs to be balanced out with something else. Or I don't know. I just remember maybe I saw it and was like, this is depressing. And then I never saw it again.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. And then number 1 was Return of the Jedi.
Of course that's Return of the Jedi, because it shouldn't be anything else.
So that was pretty awesome with the famous Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt in the bikini.
See, I might be the exception. That's never been a fantasy of mine ever.
No, but I mean, I
Carrie Fisher.
think it's just like, it's such a visual icon.
Oh, it is a visual. That giant fucking shaped like a turd
And
monster.
then when you go
Fucking
to
Jabba the Hutt.
Spaceballs and it's Pizza the Hut, it's like, yes.
Listen, Dom DeLuise as Pizza the Hut
Fucking
is
great.
One of the funniest fucking movie bits.
God, and all the stuff
Ever.
keeps falling off of it. It's just the best.
Exactly. Mel Brooks can make a fucking
Oh,
movie.
man. That shit's hilarious. Okay, so that was our most successful top 10. So now let's do Melissa's honorable mentions.
All right,
Okay,
get after it.
so one of them that is also kind of depressing. Well, it's pretty fucking depressing. But for some reason, it just struck a chord with me. And I think it might be because of the soundtrack. The Big Chill.
Never seen
Okay,
it.
so I'm going to recommend it. It has a lot of big names.
Okay.
It's got Jeff Goldblum, Glenn Close, Kevin Kline, Meg Tilly, Joe Beth Williams. Like it's all of these people that were like friends in college, and one of their friends dies and they're all gathering for like the funeral. And it's a lot of like memories between friends, and it's got this killer music. And it's just, I don't know. There's something about it that's so, I don't know, like kind of wistful, And I just remember like always hearing it referenced. I did not see it in the time it was out. Clearly, at 4 years old, I wasn't watching The Big Chill. But later on in life,
I'm writing it down.
I went back to it and was like, well, because I think too, like the Rolling Stones, like You Can't Always Get What You Want, and like Whiter Shade of Pale. Like there's a lot of really great songs there, and I was like, I need to know more. And I actually remember, I think I bought the soundtrack on a CD before I ever even saw the movie, because I was like, this is the shit right here. And I was like, what is this movie? And then I was like, I'm going to go rent it, back in the day when you trot your happy ass over to the Blockbuster. And
Fuck yeah.
it was so like, I don't know, there's just something about it that's kind of, wistful is what I would call it. So the other honorable mention, both Christmas Story and Mickey's Christmas Carol, 2 of my faves, debuted in 1983.
Both outstanding.
So, and I know we've talked about my obsession with all things Scrooge. And I'm right there
and
with
you.
I love Christmas Story. I love it. The next one, I don't know if you've seen this one, but I fucking love this movie. Eddie and the Cruisers. Oh my God. It's like this fictional.
Is Andrew Dice Clay in that movie?
Maybe.
I think I might be thinking of The Adventures of Fort Fairlane.
Yeah. No, Eddie and the Cruisers is all about this mysterious, like there's this rock band and they're super successful, right? And there's an investigative reporter who's a woman that is trying to figure out, is the main guy, Eddie, disappeared. And it's like, is he dead?
Okay.
Or did he just like step out of the spotlight? And it's her like going on this track. And there is this song that's like their big hit in it. It's like on all my 80s playlists. And of course, because we've talked about so many songs, I'm like struggling. It's something with the dark. Oh my gosh. Eddie and the Cruisers soundtrack. Here we go. On the Dark Side. And it's a good jam. It's also on my Halloween playlists. But and they keep playing it, you know, it's kind of haunting through the movie. I liked it. I caught it on TV, and it was one of those ones that I taped it on my good old VHS and I watched it over and over again, fast forwarded through the commercials.
Fuck yeah.
Eddie and the Cruisers. Okay, another honorable mention. And I'm going to go here. Mm-hmm. Jaws 3D.
How fucking dare you?
It's terrible, but...
Oh, it is bad.
But I hate 3D movies. I hate the 3D concept. However, because of that movie, I will literally never think the same about when you are in a situation where you go to like an aquarium and you're walking through the like tunnel and there's fish over you, because all you think about is that shark busting that glass from Jaws 3.
Mm-hmm. Jaws 3D was a direct response to Friday the 13th Part 3. Because that's where Spielberg got that 3D tech from. If we learned anything from Friday the 13th Part 3, is that you don't need to make a movie 3D.
No, you don't. No. But I
will never watch Jaws 3D again.
I watched it for fun because it is fucking hilarious to make fun of. It is one I will watch. Jaws 1, 2, and 3. When we start getting into Jaws is now chasing the sheriff's wife, Jaws the Revenge, I gotta let go.
Well, Michael Caine's in Jaws the Revenge. Come on, you just watch that for it alone.
I do love some Michael Caine. Also, National Lampoon's Vacation. I know you hate the Lampoons.
Vacation.
But I appreciate, I like Vacation. I will watch Vacation and Christmas Vacation. I struggle with European Vacation. And I think that now it's kind of funny to think about, now that I've done my own like family car trips, it's even a little bit more comedically relatable, where you're like, yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily hate National Lampoon because they have made some other funny stuff. Van Wilder is really funny. It's my bias against Chevy Chase. I don't think he's funny.
Well,
I don't think he's funny.
And I think when we were talking about when we were talking about Christmas movies with my Christmas episode on 14 Going on 40, the reason I like Christmas Vacation the most, I think, is because they finally figured out to make Clark a little likable, because he's such an asshole. Like, it's just like asshole. He's not even a redeemable person in the other movies. And it's like, that's supposed to be really funny, but I'm like, But, I also love Anthony Michael Hall as Rusty, and it's...
Well, Anthony Michael Hall's a national treasure.
And as is Beverly D'Angelo. I'm here for it. Chevy Chase, but it was there in 1983. And then...
Fair enough.
Sleepaway Camp.
I don't think I've seen that.
Okay. I'm not yelling at you because I understand if you haven't seen it, but let me introduce you to the cult horror film you must see. If you're going to talk horror films with people, Sleepaway Camp is going to come up. And the twisty-ass ending, don't you dare Google a thing. You just need to go right to it, watch it, and then watch your mouth hit the floor at the end like, what the fuck? I mean, it is the first movie where I lost my shit. I remember... Obviously, I did not see it when I was 4 years old. It's a slasher flick. It's very B-movie looking. But it's something. So
I love a good B-movie.
You'll be into this then. So I rented it based on the cover and the title alone. I was like, Sleepaway Camp, and then there's this like image of like a knife going through a tennis shoe. And I was like, yeah, let's rent this. And I rented it for like a sleepover, and everybody fell asleep but me and one other girl. And we watched all the way to the end, and that twisty-ass ending, we were like, hell no! All these bitches fell asleep! You gotta be kidding me!
I'll tell you, the first time I saw it, Chopping Mall. Have you seen that?
I feel like I ventured in. I know I
It's
recently
kinda-
saw an old 80s mall movie, and I'm nervous that it wasn't Chopping Mall.
The cover of the movie is a toy monkey. So you think it's going to be about killer dolls and shit. But it's fucking murderous robots. That twist, I feel like, is akin to Sleepaway Camp. Because you didn't see the... like, if you didn't see the trailer for Chopping Mall, you wouldn't know that there's fucking head-exploding robots. You'd think it's just killer toys. But it's head-exploding robots. And I saw that... one of my friends, when I first got here, moved up here, had a bunch of friends over for his birthday. We all ended up sleeping over and watching fucking horror movies. We watched Bride of Chucky, and then something else. But then Chopping Mall was last. And I was one of the only ones to stay up all night and finish it. And here come the robots. And I was like, this is a fucking false bill of goods here.
It's I sometimes I have to say, even when they're really bad movies, when they got shit like that in it, I'll at least give it a whirl. It's something.
I will recommend once more, because I have recommended on the past couple episodes, there is a documentary on Shudder. It's called In Search of
Yes,
Darkness. It's
I
about
watched it.
80s
Yes,
horror.
and it's so good. And then I did go things that I hadn't seen. I did go and like during Halloween time, I was definitely watching a bunch of those. Like I had never seen Reanimator and like some of that stuff, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm here for this. Like I want to see.
Yo, Reanimator. Is
Yes, it
fucked.
really is. It's
That
something.
movie is still good though.
So, and then this one is a Melissa Vanderlan favorite, and I don't know if anybody else's favorite, but Valley Girl with
I fucking love
Deb
Valley Girl.
Foreman and Nicolas Cage.
Fuck you, man, for sure.
It warms my soul. I love
I
them.
love that movie. But it's because okay, brass tacks. It's a bad movie. It's terrible, but it's good for those who appreciate all that kind of crap.
God.
You go down to the Galleria, sure. Fuck you, man, for sure.
I love Nicolas Cage and Deborah Foreman in this. They're so adorable together. Like it's
Yeah.
and I love like the way she has that like push and pull with her friends and like, but it's like her friends are Valley Girls and annoying, but she's not really annoying. And so then that helps you stick with it. And they recently just did a remake that.
I was just gonna say the remake's not good.
But
It's not good, and it's not appreciative any.
listen, people,
either.
Valley Girl 1983, that's where it's at. Just and Nicolas Cage in his first, I think that it was his first like starring role, like the major. What's the word?
Yeah.
When you're like the star of the movie, the big role.
Yeah, starring role.
The main
Yeah.
character. It was his first big one.
Yeah, if you want a good like amalgamation of what I assume teenage life was like in the 80s, besides The Breakfast Club, I would go ahead and say Valley
Yes.
Girl is it.
Yes. And the
Yeah.
other thing is if you have a lot of body hair and you want to find a way to shave the front of yourself in such a strange way, watch this movie. And when you see Nicolas Cage on the beach, you're going to say, huh, there's a choice.
Like, it is a choice.
That's
Yes, it is.
that's some manscaping that you had to make happen.
As with anything that Nicolas Cage has done in his career, he made some.
Oh,
fucking choices.
there is something happening with the shapeage of the chest. It's very strange. There you go. So
No,
that was
there's
my
that,
last
yeah.
honorable mention of 1983 movies.
Okay.
So TV shows, I narrowed it down to basically what I did is I looked up all the TV show debuts and then I picked anything off there that I could authentically be like, yes, 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 yes. Like if it was something where I was like,
Okay.
I don't know if I really know that. No. So
Run
yes.
with it, lady friend.
First one is the A-Team.
Oh, I fucking love it when a plan comes together.
Yes. So I remember.
And I'll tell you what, that movie with Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper is
I don't know
really
if
good.
I've seen it. I love Mr. T so much that when for a while I used the traffic app Waze. Okay.
Yep.
For a while, you could have Mr. T be your voice on Waze, and you know that shit was playing
Yes.
in my car the whole time. Turn left, fool!
We turn left. You were supposed to make a right here. Yeah, I had that Waze app. I had Kevin Conroy's Batman
Yeah.
narrating my trips for a while. And I was just going to work. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
the way to work. I just want to hear Kevin
Oh,
Conroy.
I use Waze every day
turn right
because
here.
my route to work, I live like 45 minutes away from where I work. I mean, and there's no highways. It's all streetlight traffic. And if we get like a light out or an accident, I got to find another way because school is starting with or without me. And that's a real anxiety. And so I use Waze because like, at least with it being community reported, it's like if there is something up ahead, I'll know, even though it's like, I know how to get to my work. But I used to love listening to Mr. T on Waze. It was the bomb. God.
There's a speed trap up ahead,
Yes.
fool.
Oh, it's the best. He was just the best.
And you know what? Mr. T can only play Mr.
That's
T.
right.
Like even in Rocky 3, like which we covered last episode.
No.
He can like Clubber Lang is
Yeah.
Mr. T.
Yeah. I mean, when you got something, just recognize that you got something. You're Mr. T.
Like I would love to see Mr. T in a romantic comedy.
Yeah. Like a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
I'll be home for Christmas.
No, he has to be the spirit of like Christmas past with all of his gold chains, but he's like 1980s past, and then he gets a couple together and he's like, "Fool, you love her."
Yeah. Yeah. It like goes to Christmas past, Mr. T. Remember when we did this shit?
Exactly. That's okay. You heard it here first. All right.
Yes.
The next one was the Alvin and the Chipmunks. I used to watch that religiously. It was Saturday morning cartoon fodder. Loved Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Chipettes.
Sophie used to watch one of the reboots when she was a baby, or when she was younger. You know, it's fucking chipmunks. I mean,
Yes, but you had a lot of small things to choose from in the 80s. The Smurfs, the Chipmunks, Chip and Dale.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
I
Turtles.
mean, were they small though? I feel like they were man-sized turtles. Yeah, they're people-sized. The chipmunks are
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bigger than real chipmunks, but they're still like little kids. So,
Well, I think in theory the Ninja Turtles are supposed to be like 5'2", 5'1", 5'2".
dang,
So I mean, small.
I could take 'em.
teenagers.
I'm just saying. Put your nunchucks down. Let's do this. Turtle to woman. Here we go. Another interesting thing that I had no idea was going to come up in this list of TV things that debuted is the Disney Parks Christmas Day Parade being on TV. Where now I'm like, that's been for so long, like just like, yeah, like we put on the parade and like in my family, we always like put it on. And then now it's like like I always put it on, like I'll put it on TV.
I feel like that's strictly on ABC.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the debut was on
Yeah, I thought
ABC.
so.
Mm-hmm. And
thought so.
And it's like, yeah, it basically it's been annually since 1983. Isn't that wild?
Huh.
I was like, oh, I didn't really think of that.
That is fucking
Yeah.
wild.
And then
I will say that I've seen one of those Disney parades up close. They're fucking wild.
yeah, it's magical.
And matter of fact, Sophie was supposed to be in a Disney parade down Main Street in the Magic Kingdom this coming December, but they canceled it
Yeah.
because of COVID. Oh, she was so disappointed.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But it's like it's one of those things that I mean, my family never went to Disney when I was a kid. The first time I went to Disney was with Drew, and I think I was like 23. And I was crying next to the 3-year-old at the parade, like I don't want to go home. And so the Disney parade on TV was like my only kind of view into like Disney World.
Yeah.
I had never really seen it. And my family made it very much sound like ain't never going to happen. That's rich people shit.
Oh, for sure. And then, yeah, we went a couple years ago.
They're not wrong.
In prep for it.
They're not wrong.
Oh, no, they're
you
not
just
wrong.
bleed money the whole time you're there. Hemorrhage.
And you know what they don't tell you is that if you're not from somewhere where it's hot, you're going to pay more money in beverages to deal with your heat stroke. Because holy
Yes.
fuck was it hot.
You just open the veins and let it all come forth. all the money.
Oh. Oh yeah. I
Yes.
bled money at
Brutal.
Disney World.
As previously mentioned, Fraggle Rock. That was a big deal. I remember watching it. I watched a lot of Muppets. I have this love for Jim Henson. He is such a cool soul. Like, he is the most famous home economics major. That's what he majored in college, because he knew he loved puppetry and wanted to figure out how to make like his own shit, and was like, well, I need to know how to like sew and shit. And so that's what he majored in college, which is really cool. And one of the very best things that I love to watch, as no spoilers here, I love The Labyrinth. I owned it on VHS, and I actually still have that VHS. Afterwards, there's a making of, and it's so good. It like to watch all the behind the scenes of how all of those puppets move, and just like now how actors have to work against green screen, and it's like he comes from a time where it's like you made the shit. Like I'm always fascinated with that, and I'm super fascinated and in awe of stop motion animation. It's like such an incredible art.
Like how they made The Nightmare Before Christmas. I've seen
Coraline.
I've seen
I caught it. I wanted to find it, but it doesn't show on like my Blu-ray or anything. But HBO had like a behind the scenes of Coraline, and they showed like a dog toy that they turned inside out, and that's one of the like flowers blooming. Like, to be that kind of person that you can look at it and see that, and I'm just like, that is so bonkers. It's just crazy. Yeah. So Fraggle Rock, I remember being huge. I definitely watched it. It was something that it was appointment TV for sure. Like, it was like, oh, Fraggle Rock's on. Yeah, like definitely got to check that out. I felt like it was short-lived. Am I right?
It was. I think it only ran 2-3 seasons.
And right now there is a reboot. Like a 2021 reboot.
Oh, no.
In January, they announced that production has started on a reboot of the show. So,
oh, no. See, this is what happens. I don't know. They've rebooted the fucking Muppets how many times? And on some levels, it works if you're on a nostalgia trip. But everybody who watched Fraggle Rock in '83 is now older, and they may watch it for an episode or two just to get the nostalgia hit. But is it really going to be successful?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do love me if it's a fucking Muppets.
Well, I mean, we'll see. It could be cool.
I even watched Muppets Tonight in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one, I definitely remember the huge obsession of He-Man and Masters of the Universe cartoon.
God damn it.
That
one can make the argument the most homoerotic of the 80s cartoons.
I mean, is it much of an argument, or do you just make your case?
I mean, come on. It was.
So the thing that sticks out for me with He-Man, I definitely watched it, and I was definitely a huge fan of She-Ra. And one of the biggest things that I remember that you know how sometimes you have those nightmares that stick with you for your whole life, like that you vividly remember?
Yes.
Well, one of the first early ones that I remember having super vivid had Skeletor in it. And
Skeletor's
the weirdest thing, though, because I'm like, it's not that scary. Like, I don't know what my deal was.
It's not.
But I really...
But I think anybody with a skull face is
going to... Or you know what, though? Maybe it wasn't... You know who I could be thinking of, though? What's that one? Thundercats? That was another 80s cartoon. And that one had they had a similar villain that was clearly like kind of the same as Skeletor. It was either one of those two, and it stuck with me. And I remember like really, and then I had a cousin that I played with a lot, and he was super into He-Man and had all the toys. And so we would play with like this castle and all that. It was a big deal. He-Man was everywhere.
I had when we lived down in towards Philadelphia in Plumsteadville, my mother, we had a shed in the backyard, And I knew for a fact that my mother had Castle Grayskull in that shed. Castle Grayskull and all the action figures. And she kept that fucker locked until she lost the key, until I had to break that fucker with a lock. Or with a rock to get in there. And by that point, it was unplayable. It had water damage and everything like that. I was so fucking mad. I will say that they are rebooting Masters of the Universe.
They rebooted She-Ra, and it was good.
They did. My favorite filmmaker, Kevin Smith, is rebooting it. He's the showrunner. So, and he's gotten fucking people to do all-star writers. He got Mark Hamill to do the voice of Skeletor. So I'm for it. Hopefully, put some fucking pants on He-Man this time. I don't need to see cartoon 80s bulge.
Another debut, Inspector Gadget.
You have just struck a nerve with me. I loved
Inspector Gadget so much.
I did not know that Don Adams did the voice of Inspector Gadget until later in my adult life. Oh my god!
And then I loved it's Penny, right? The little girl Penny with her book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I loved that so much. Loved Inspector Gadget.
That was one of the first times I ever got a cringe look from my wife. Is when we first got together and I was running through my gambit of impressions and I pulled out the Dr. Claw. And she cringed so hard. Even like the first syllable, I was like, "I'll get you next time, Gadget." And she was like, "Ew, please don't stop. Please stop it."
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, loved Inspector Gadget. Another show that I loved that debuted this year is Mama's Family.
Oh, listen. I'm a fan of Carol Burnett. Those Mama's Family skits on the Carol Burnett show are fucking gold.
I loved
the show is funny.
Mama's Family.
But I don't think it warranted its own show.
I know, but I remember like it was one of those ones that we watched over and over again. And what was so funny is as an adult realizing that Mama isn't really old. They're just dressing a young person in a grandma outfit. It really took me some time to figure that out. I don't know what.
I'll tell you one of the best things about that Mama's Family show is bringing Tim Conaway on from the Carol Burnett show.
I watched the Carol Burnett show a lot when I was a kid too. And I think, it was a natural extension of it. I loved it. It was awesome.
Carol Burnett is a fucking genius. Have you seen her in Annie?
Please.
Come on.
Of course I have.
Yeah. Yeah, forgot who the fuck I was talking to.
So then another iconic thing that I remember from the 80s, Reading Rainbow debuted in 1983.
Every episode.
So good. Yes.
Every episode. I find LeVar Burton's voice so soothing.
It was so good.
Yeah. I don't even care that he played Geordie LaForge in Star Trek. I really don't. I can give two fucks. But his voice is so fucking soothing that I think there's a petition now to get him to be the new host of Jeopardy.
Well, he's got a podcast right now where he'll read to you. Yeah, it's LeVar Burton Reads or something like that, and he'll read. He finds.
I just threw my lighter.
He I don't know if he finds pieces or if people send him like stories or things to read, and because it is adults find him very soothing. He's got a podcast. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Found it. Subscribe.
Well, let me tell you. From the calm serenity of Reading Rainbow, we're going to go dark side here to something that I absolutely used to watch as a kid, Tales from the Dark Side.
Okay. I've seen some Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh my God. First of all, the opening scene is this like chilling music, and then you're going through this forest. And they've taken all the color out, and it looks like all those like black and white birch trees, and you're just like,
it looks like that scene from The Evil Dead where the spirits
oh my
racing
God,
through the forest.
It fucked me up.
Yeah,
big time. Stay out of the forest. That's what's in there.
That and the intro to Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt, I don't remember scaring me, but Tales from the Dark Side, 100%. I used to watch Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side, and Tales from the Dark Side definitely scared me. And I will never forget, there's an episode, and I actually would love to rewatch it, of, you were talking about killer toys. There's an episode where like a teddy bear is after like a kid and his mom, and it
messed
with my mind. where I was like, I remember, and this was another thing where you would not normally have caught me even when I was a kid doing this, but I was like, Mom, I don't know if I'm okay watching this show. And she was like, I'm like, it really kind of scares me. And it's like, I just wasn't like that, but I was like, I don't know, man, maybe you should be telling me no on this. Like, because this is fucking with my brain. That one is a good one. That one would be a fun one to go back and watch a few. I remember they did a Tales from the Dark Side movie and it was meh. But the show I remember really liking. No. Then also, this is a mini series that was on, and I remember it being huge. And I probably did not see it in 1983. Probably saw the rebroadcast of it. But V?
Yeah, so V is how Robert Englund came to prominence.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think he got nominated for an Emmy for V. It's a big science fiction.
You know what it reminds me of, or at least what I interpreted it as. At that time, it reminded me the same way people acted about V was how they acted about like Twin Peaks. Like that's obsessive, like everyone's talking about it. Got to see this show. And it was on TV. Yeah.
It's really good. I quite enjoy it. And Robert Englund is very good in that miniseries.
Yeah, I remember that was a big deal. And I'm sure I saw it like on a rebroadcast. I probably didn't see it when I was 4, but
I saw the reboot.
Yeah, there was a reboot. I don't remember it being very successful.
Yeah, it's not even...
Another one that came out, Webster. Yeah, it was another one of these, like, it had Emmanuel Lewis, who was cute, and, a little African-American kid, raised by a white family, and they adopt him, and it's, but it was also set in Chicago, and so I remember I watched it. Wow. I definitely watched it when it was on. It was kind of in that same vein as Different Strokes. Like it was trying to play off of that kind of thing. So I do remember Webster. I don't remember a ton about it, but there it is. And then last, but certainly not least, a cultural icon that has now, in 2021, made it to Netflix. Wheel of Fortune! Debuted in 1983.
I am convinced that Pat Sajak is
absolutely
197 years old.
He's a pod person.
Yeah, for sure. He's
1,000%.
As my grandmother got up in age before she passed, her 7 o'clock routine before she went to bed was Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
My family always watched Wheel of Fortune. Always. I even at one point had the board game.
My wife is talented at those puzzles. Like, I'm wicked at Jeopardy. That's kind of where we differ. So I'll watch Jeopardy, bang, 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 get it. Case in point, when we got our first Alexa device, we played the Jeopardy game on the Alexa. And I thought it was general knowledge, the answer that I gave, but it was like, who was the first African-American Supreme Court justice? It was Thurgood Marshall. And I came out with it. My wife was like, how in the fuck did you know that? I'm like, read a book, time or two.
Like,
so you got the college degree in the house.
I remember, like, Jeopardy was not as big in my house or my grandma's house, which is where I lived part time. So, like, we did have Jeopardy on sometimes, but I think it was on. Was Jeopardy on kind of more early in the day?
No, I think in its run on ABC, it was Jeopardy at 7 and Wheel of Fortune at 7:30.
Yeah.
And here on the East Coast.
I'm trying to remember, but for some reason, we didn't watch Jeopardy as much as we watched Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune, like, my parents really liked it. We always, like, turned it on. And so it was, like, a staple. And, like I said, I had the Wheel of Fortune board game. And it was, you got the huge, like, Vivanna white board. And you would slide these cards in. And there were these little, like, almost like, on bingo cards where there's, like, the little window to slide. There were, like, all those. And you would play this, like, play Wheel of Fortune. And I remember me and my, like, little friends would play this game. And it was just like, and then I about died the other day. I go to my Netflix home screen and it's like, Wheel of Fortune is on Netflix. It's like, what?
That's fucking
this is
wild.
Bananas.
Yeah. My wife will always be like, hey, wouldn't it be great to go on one of those shows? And I'd be like, no, because we would leave, end up owing
I know,
ABC
right?
money.
It's
I'm terrible at word puzzles. It's like, but she can fire them off. She could figure it out with one letter. And
yeah. I will say I always find it a little spooky when there are those. I caught a snippet of an episode a few days ago, and I was like, this woman. I mean, it was literally like there were 2 letters on the board, and she just said the whole phrase, and I was like, that is spooky. Like, what's going on in that brain over there?
Yeah, yeah. They got some kind of wicked talent that I don't know. I only succeed at Jeopardy because I like to read. I like to fancy myself as a student of history. Wheel of Fortune is in a category all its own, and I'm not good at word puzzles.
It's. But I was surprised, and I was like, oh yeah, 1983 is when it started, huh? And like, people have been watching it ever since, but it's still on. Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy.
I mean, Pat Sajak may be a pod person, but I want to actually really know how old he is, because he's had work done, and it's very
well, I mean, he is just. Here
I
we go,
gotta
Pat
find out.
Sajak.
I gotta
Here
find
we go.
out. No.
He was born in 1946.
Holy shit! He's 74.
He is 1 year older than my dad. Yeah.
He doesn't. He doesn't look a day
I know.
past 60.
Well, he's looked the same for so long that it's just it's unnerving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Alex Trebek, Chuck Woolery. Fucking, they just didn't. They never aged.
Wow. Oh. Well, that's all I got for TV.
Hey, listen. And we're coming up on the third hour here,
right?
so this might be a good idea to cut it off. That was fun. You know what? After the absolute shit bomb of a week that I've had at work, this was nice.
That's super fun. It was super fun to even just like look up the stuff, and I was like, oh man, this is so like it was just really neat to kind of see. I had been listening, and I kind of knew that I'm like, okay, at some point the magic button's going to hit where like I suddenly remember all of this a ton, where it's like, because I mean, I knew when you guys did 1980, 1981, and I told you I'm only partway into 1982, that episode. And I was like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff that I absolutely knew when you guys were talking about it. But I think this was the magic year that I'm like, oh yeah, like this, it was so much familiarity. Yeah. I mean, it was like the floodgates open, like this was the 80s, 1983. Like, here we go.
I could tell when you were trying to wax poetic about Mr. Mom. You were like, fuck yeah.
Mr. Mom. So fucking great. You can't give chili to a baby.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. So great. Oh, I love it so much. God. The only thing that is going to be really weird for me is this episode. I don't know. Lots of people don't know this, but when I'm listening to Bill and Raptor on their episodes, I give my play-by-play text messages in our text thread.
Yeah. It's quite a running commentary, okay, and I am living for it.
I, for some reason, always hit your episodes when I'm up at like 5 a.m. and my house is quiet and I have my earbuds in and I'm getting ready for work. And so I don't have anyone to talk to because everyone's sleeping. So when something comes up, I'm like, oh, I'm getting right in the text thread. Like, this is hilarious. Like, and then I was like, I wonder if this is annoying, because I'm like, it's like, I'm like, is this a little obnoxious?
No,
and I can't help it.
Because most times when you do it, I'm at work, so it makes my morning significantly better.
Okay, good. Because I was like,
oh god.
Not that anyone asked for my running commentary, but I'm like, oh yeah, and then this, and and I mean, it's been fun.
Oh no, I'm fucking living for it.
Yeah, it's been a fun one to like, and the 80s series has. I think it's only going to get more fun.
I hope so. If I could play my cards right, I'm trying to get my twin sister on for 1985 to get some Back to the Future talk in there, because I can guarantee you there's going to be at least 30 minutes where we'll just go out of this off the script in Back to the Future and just recite it.
Back to the Future is awesome.
So
that's it. I mean, it's genius. It's absolutely genius.
Yes. one of those movies that shan't be remade.
No.
Else there be a strong uprising.
Unnecessary.
From somebody.
Now, was it
And
your 1981 episode? Did you guys mention Raiders of the Lost Ark? With Indiana Jones? Yeah, I thought so. I was going to say a really cute, very cool and cute documentary that's on Netflix, I believe. There is a group of kids that shot for shot over like their whole childhood remade Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it's a documentary about them. It's cool.
I've heard of that.
What is it called? Oh, you should really watch it. I was surprised at how delightful it was. Let's see, Raiders.
at least they really didn't really remake something shot for shot like Gus Van Sant did with
Oh.
Psycho.
No. That shit can fuck off.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Not cool. Not cool at all.
Oh, man. No. And I like Vince Vaughn, but he's no Anthony Perkins.
Oh, but we added masturbating in there, you know, and so that was super cool. Like the sound of that was a perfect addition. I mean, Hitchcock couldn't do it, and we weren't going to change anything, and it was a frame for frame remake, except we needed to add that sound. Yeah. Awesome.
I mean,
just, you know.
Ew.
Yeah, there is a super cute, oh my gosh, it was like a fan remake, and it is so cute. If you search Raiders of the Lost Ark, I believe, it's like it's a fan film, and it's the cutest. And they started when they were 11, and then it goes all the way up until they're an adult because they couldn't get the final scene with the airplane. Because it was like, how are they going to do that? You know? And then finally they kind of get this fan base together and like they get this money. And as adults, they film the final scene. It's really cute.
That's awesome.
And they just did it. And it reminds me of the Goldbergs and how like Adam Goldberg in that show is like constantly filming. Yeah. It's like these kids had this penchant for this, and like somebody had a video camera, and it's a really cool one.
Really cool.
You would like it. It's neat.
I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, so this was super fun.
It was. Thank you for co-hosting this week. Super grateful. As with every week, you can find us at InsideYouPodcast.com for all of the Inside You with Bill and the Raptor goodness. It is now past midnight here in Pennsylvania, and my wife just texted me, so I'm gonna
you need to go to bed.
Yeah, I do. It's been a long day, but so thanks again for co-hosting, and I don't care if you're on the episode or not. I do expect a running commentary on this one too.
I'll see what I can do.
But that's it for this week. Look forward to the next episode. We'll do 1984. For Inside You with Bill and the Raptor, I'm Bill, and we're pulling out. Good night.